All right, it is Saturday. The weekend has arrived. Hope you guys are all having a good weekend. All right. There's some weird stuff going on this weekend. I don't know if I summoned Dr. Phil or if Dr. Phil was just looking for some way to stay relevant. I'm not sure which one was going on, but all of a sudden Dr. Phil now back in the spotlight. Apparently had a weird interview with Trump, which I did not watch yet. Oh, I gotta pop out the chat. I'm always pushing buttons at the start here. But yeah, apparently had a really weird. Oh wow, you said Somebody said Dr. Seuss is the worst doctor. That was a joke, guys. Damn, that's messed up. Anyways, yeah. Apparently, Dr. Phil had a weird interview with Donald Trump, and maybe we'll watch the Donald Trump Dr. Phil interview itself, as I have not seen it. I've seen in the interview that Dr. Phil said that Donald Trump has thick skin and does not need the love and adoration of others. Sometimes I feel like I'm not sure if people are just does he have information on these people? Because of all the things that you could say about Donald Trump and in an attempt to get people to like Donald Trump and believe the things you are saying, the one thing I think you would not want to try to even bring into the spotlight for Donald Trump would be thick skin, and he doesn't need the adoration. I mean, that's all Donald Trump is thin-skinned. And he's literally doing it for the love and adoration that his father did not give him. It really is just mind-boggling for me, because I can't figure out whether or not it's just that people are that deranged when they're around Trump that they don't see these things about him, which would be really, really weird. Or, I just feel like it has to be that they want him to prop them up. Like they're just attaching their trailer to his wagon and hoping that he's going to, I don't know, bring them into, like, I mean, maybe Dr. Phil has debts. Maybe Dr. Phil has like a gambling problem or something. He needs to pay them bitches off. Because, like, it's like seeing like a burning building, like looking at a burning building and being like, I think I'm gonna go inside there. Don't do that, dude. It looks terrible. It looks like it's on fire, and you're like, it all depends on how you look at it. The way I perceive that building is that building's in great shape and completely safe. And everybody else, they're like, that shit's on fire, dog. What's up, Joni? What's up, Dawn? What's up, Tired? What's up, Woke? Guys, I'm going to just say this. I did take away Redonk's right to ban other moderators. Because Redonk, I don't know if you know this, but Redonk is my stepbrother. And Redonk is known to troll me, mostly here to troll me. But when he gets a chance, when I first gave Redonk the power of the top moderator, he banned every other moderator in my chat and then typed out, "There will be only one." So, yeah. What's up here? What's up, James? What's going on, guys? Dr. Phil is just another one of Oprah's Horcruxes. Yeah, like kind of one of the weird things. What up, Mike? You see in YouTube, are there these people that people call orbiters? I'm still learning a lot about all of this stuff, right? But they call people orbiters, I guess. And that's like, I'm guessing those are people that have like kind of latched on to a big streamer in the hopes to get other people or people from their streams. And I've contacted a couple streamers in the hopes of like talking and having conversations and kind of bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff like that. But I'm not interested in being somebody's groupie. But I would like to engage in some political talk with some of these other streamers, and especially the bigger ones, and kind of, hear from them their experience and what they think I should do and stuff. But I'm not interested in being anybody's groupie. But Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, and it's like a coaching tree. It's like they all like kind of come away from like this like reality TV show. What is it? What would you call daytime drama show? Like what'd you call like a talk show? I guess is what they used to be called, right? I mean, it's not really a talk show anymore, but you have the Oprah Winfrey's, the Maury Povich, the Ricky Lakes of the world, and obviously Oprah gave birth to these people that we now have to deal with. So this is actually, if you want to be honest, we can trace this shit all the way back to Oprah. This is Oprah's fault. And I have a feeling that it's probably not a good idea for me to go at Oprah. Something tells me that going at Oprah might actually get you offed. Guys, if I'm not here on Monday for the stream, you know that Oprah got me. Just want you guys to keep that going. Oh, I played New Vegas for like 5 minutes. I like to play games still, but it's hard for me. I don't have the attention span for it anymore because there's so much going on. So I always like start all these games and I play about 10 minutes of them, and then I'm just like, ugh. And I end up going back to playing. I played League of Legends a little bit, but you want to talk about the most toxic society? You guys want to know why no one hurts my feelings? It's because I play League of Legends, okay? And playing League of Legends has desensitized me to all insults. I mean, also having an aunt that was a biker, also, thick-skinned person, but League of Legends has completely taken away any sensitivity I had left. Adam Mockler is out of my league now. Better ask someone else. I still get responses from Adam on Instagram. I private message. I haven't in a while, but I private message Adam every once in a while, and he still messages me back, and that feels good. Deep down inside, it's like I don't know how much longer I got until Adam just like completely like he's like I have nothing to do with that guy. Like he erases our history. Like, he sends me the cease and desist to take down the podcast. He's like, I can't have this, bro. I'm trying to be professional. I cannot be linked to you in any way, shape, or form. And I'd do that for Adam. I would do that for Adam. Dr. Phil, he does need a head doctor. He's being weird. He's being so weird. What's up, Levon? I let Dr. Frankenstein treat me before I let Dr. Phil... There was a time. This is so strange. All of these figures. Rudy Giuliani, at one point or another, there was a time where he wasn't fucking weird. I mean, he was probably weird, but it was behind the scenes. There was a time when Dr. Phil wasn't weird. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I am actually starting to become concerned that there is something in the water. But it's only the water these people are drinking. Because I remember listening to a Dr. Phil Joe Rogan episode a while back, and he was just talking about kids and talking about getting people outside and getting people off the technology, and all these other things. And I was like, dude, that's pretty based. I didn't know Dr. Phil actually was anything other than a talk show doctor. And, I was like, this ain't so bad. All right, Dr. Phil's got some pretty good advice. And then he lost his goddamn mind. And I'd like to think that, it's got to be something to do with COVID breaking people, and like it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, or how many years you have in like professions like psychology. It seems like certain people were just affected by it so badly that they just broke. And I think maybe Dr. Phil might have been one of them. Because like I'm a big fan of Jonathan Haidt. In fact, I was going to ask if people want. I was thinking about watching on stream Jonathan Haidt's. He has like a Google Talk, not a TED Talk, but a Google Talk about his book, The Righteous Mind. The Righteous Mind is a really big book in for critical thinking, talking about the hive mind versus the individual, or as I've always said, people like ants and cats. Jonathan Haidt apparently has said that people are like bees and chimpanzees, and his rhymes, so obviously it's better. But I just thought it was pretty dope. That's something that I came up with on my own through my experiences, matched up with somebody as on the level of Jonathan Haidt. But what I was going to say is, I saw Jonathan Haidt had went back on Rogan's podcast, and I was like, I'll watch anything with Jonathan Haidt. So I went and watched it, and I was a little concerned. I was a little concerned that he was going to be going a little Dr. Philish, like he was going to kind of go down that rabbit hole. And he actually ended up at one point on the podcast arguing with Rogan over Trump and Trump's effect on society. And, Haidt got to a point actually at one point where he's like, let's just agree to disagree on this and let's just move on, because Jonathan Haidt's a really nice guy. And Joe is so awkward. Rogan kept trying to like, but can't you hear what I'm saying? And Jonathan's like, just, dude, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Let it go, bro. So it was good to see. But if you guys ever want to watch, sit here and watch The Righteous Mind and kind of break it down and go over like how that affects how I lead and how I manage the business I manage, and like also how I use a lot of the things that Jonathan Haidt talks about for my kids as well, and parenting, we could do that for sure. Let's see. How was the graduation? Graduation, let me just tell you this. There was 13 valedictorians, okay, and we live in a very small community. That means each one of those kids got a chance to give a speech, and though I am all for the youth, there is nothing like sitting there listening to 13 speeches about kids in the 7th grade. And then all the teachers get up and they give out like 67 awards. And I was just sitting there going like, God damn it, man. Does this really need to be this long? And by the way, too, I live in a very conservative community, so I would say 96% of the people in my community that were at that graduation were probably voting for Trump. So it was kind of it's a funny crowd. I'm always waiting for somebody to say something to me political or weird that like I have to be like, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm here with my kids. But my son, who's an Aspie, had some really funny moments because he's got very little filter on the things he says. And one of the funniest things he did was it was a Dr. Seuss themed graduation about like something to do with shoes, and you can go wherever your feet point you and such. And by about the 4th kid that came up and used the same quote, my son loudly exclaimed, and like I said, this is a small gathering of people. It's not very big. It's like maybe 200 people, counting the 100 kids that were there. And he goes, bro, how many times are they going to use that quote? And I'm like, dude. You can't fucking heckle the 12-year-olds. It was pretty amazing. So it was good. All doctors are bad, depends on insurance. My doctor is actually good. I like my doctor. He's, what up, Brad? What up, Carolyn? My doctor is actually pretty good. My doctor is my age. And so, like, when we're talking about stuff, like, even, like, he's bald, too. So he's, like literally like looking at like my head, and he's like looking at the little like cuts and stuff, and he's like, dude, do you use a razor? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh no, don't go all the way down, don't, like, I'm getting like fucking barber advice from my doctor. He's a good dude though. He's a good dude. Shout out my doctor. All right. Okay, remember to try to at me, guys. Remember to at me so I know who you're talking to. So that way I don't start jumping on people and like I do poor Mikey, whatever his name was last week, when I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's like, dude, I'm not even talking to you. I'm like, I'm sorry. American Voice Disregarded. Good to see you. All right, let's watch some videos. Let's get to it. I'm up here. I'm talking enough. Love you guys for being here and everything. Thanks for staying with it. And I think we're at like 10,180 subs. I remember a time when I had so few subs that I could literally, like, I was like, oh shit, I lost 5 subs, and I go back under the 100 mark or wherever I was at, and I'm like, God damn it. We got so many subs now. We got so many beautiful, wonderful people that come and chat and talk, and some assholes as well. But you know, that's a good mixture for it's representative of America. That we have some good conversations. So thanks for being here. I'm glad you guys are always here. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, so this is Christopher Titus just came out. Well, we'll go over the videos. We got Christopher Titus talking about Trump being a convicted felon. We got our boy Right Plight, our person Right Plight. I keep gendering you, Right Plight. I don't even know, and I should stop doing that. Right Plight, who is a subscriber and who has hit 1,000 1,000 subscribers in 30 days. Right Plate showing me how to do it. Here you go. I'm gonna put Right Plate's his or their, that's their channel right there. Oh, Ronnie Jackson. Dude, I should have added that. That's a good call, James. That's a good call. What's up, John? Hypnos, what's going on? So that's Right Plate. Right Plate is one of the subs. Right Plate started, they jumped in here, told me they were going to make a channel. They followed through with it. I always hear people talking about they're going to make a channel. Right Plate actually did it, doing some things with AI. This is Right Plate's channel. You know, support a fellow subscriber and go like and subscribe to their channel. And they've got some really fucking funny videos too. So we're going to watch this here in a minute too. Luke Beasley, I just saw the start of this. Let me just say this. This is what I saw. It's a Don Jr. video, and this we'll just play the beginning of this. I have something for— Oh, we didn't put the headphones on the right one. Technical difficulty. Drink. You guys, I hope you guys brought a lot today. I hope you brought the whole bottle today, because it's probably gonna be one hell of a show. I'm
for you. Ah!
Okay, I think that counts as 2 technical difficulties, so drink again. Where are we at? Blue Bonnet. That's the name of my speakers, is Blue Bonnet Joy. I just like left it at whatever it was when it came. I use, this is not a paid promotion, but I use these Bose earbuds, and they are dope, just so you guys know. Bose are the best. All right. So I saw this and I clicked it, and then I heard Luke Beasley say this, and I was like, "We watching this video."
I have something for you. Oh goodness, get ready. This is some whacked stuff.
That's all I had to hear. I was like, Don Jr. and some whacked stuff, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is probably gonna be super funny." So to talk about the Dr. Phil, we got our boy Adam Mockler, who's on there talking. This is another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. The weird obsession with Trump supporters and telling you that Latino and African Americans vote for Trump. It's such a strange thing to think that, like, I don't know that African Americans and Latinos vote for Trump. I mean, forget the fact that where I come from was none but Latinos and Arabs and you know, African Americans and every culture you could possibly imagine. So it's not like I don't know this shit. But it's really funny that Trump supporters have to constantly tell you this. It's like, yeah, 49% of America voted for Donald Trump. Whether or not I think that's a good idea or not doesn't matter. I mean, I'm guessing that, yeah, there was a couple black dudes. Like, it's such a weird thing to focus on. And so I started thinking about that, and I was like, it's a lot like saying I got a gay friend or I got a black friend. It's like the idea, like, you don't need to tell people that shit if you're secure, right? Like, you don't need to tell anybody that you're friends with African Americans if, you know, if you're secure in that shit. But if you're not secure in that shit, if you are insecure about who your voter basis is made up of, it becomes real important to have signs that say Latinos for Trump and blacks for Trump and gays for Trump, because it's like they gotta announce that shit. I mean, they don't understand how much of a self-own that is. Like, our dude is so goddamn divisive, we gotta tell you who's in the voter base. It's a strange thing. It's a strange thing, in my opinion. Colt 45 says he's not a felon. Yeah, good luck with that. Like, you know, try to tell the justice system that. Although we'll talk about something in a little bit that actually is kind of scary. I don't know if you guys heard about one of the jurors' like cousins posted before, I think, the verdict, and this is like barely got information, and I don't like to talk about this stuff until I know like facts to back it up, but it sounds like somebody might have posted something on a forum that they were not supposed to, and that could, I believe, jeopardize something to do with the court case. So people, like, fucking shut the fuck up. Stop talking about stuff online. Like, don't talk about how your cousin knows somebody that's on the jury. You're not supposed to do that dumb shit. Because it's Pride Month. That's right, bitches. I got my video coming out tomorrow. My Pride Month video coming out tomorrow. And it's pretty dope. It's a remake of a Klepper video that I made a while back from a girl named Julie that was from Eureka, Kansas? Eureka, Arkansas? Kansas? Kansas. I think it's Kansas. Arkansas. And she asked me to do it because she was from that town. And I did it the first time. It got like 150,000 views in like 3 days. And then Trump Flakes mass reported my ass, and I had to take it down. So we redid it in a new way, and we're gonna try to we're gonna try and get that one up and run it. So it should come out tomorrow. But I wanted to watch this. This is a trans person interviewing homophobes at Pride 2024. I thought this would be pretty fucking crazy. And of course our boy Straight Facts No Chaser. I just saw it as I logged on that he had a new video, so I was like, we can watch a little bit of that too. All right. So anyways, those are the videos that we got going on. I have a black friend, so basically, exactly here. It's exactly. I'm totally not racist because I knew a black dude. Trump's totally not, he's totally for gay people and black people because there's some that vote for him. Like, I keep telling people this. I'm like, there are dumb people in every race, every gender, every sexuality. There are stupid people across the fucking spectrum. Why do you expect me to be surprised that all these dumbasses end up voting for him? Like, fucking, let's see. It was a joke and been proven oh, okay. That's good, woke. That's good. Okay, I'll look further into it. I just saw it, glanced at it, and saw it, and I was like, oh, dude, please. Fucking stop, please, Like, I need people to stop almost screwing us over at the last second here. It's bad enough already. All right. So let's start with Titus. Let's tell the Angry Junior to shut the fuck up. Mike hasn't told me to shut the fuck up yet. DJ's not in the chat to tell me to shut the fuck up. So we're going to just go ahead and do this.
I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Well, after the Trump verdict came down... After 5 weeks of testimony, witnesses, and evidence, that normal Americans sat down and went over
Who did that? Did Titus do that? Or is that something you can find online? Oh, man, the internet is undefeated. That is amazing. Dude, why did I not think about something like this? This is some shit that I should have thought of.
Maybe down in Florida, you are the next big
I'm working on it, Manic. I'm working on it.
We're not squeezing oranges here.
Trump was convicted on
I'm only in top chat.
Felony counts.
Sorry if I'm missing you guys. Don't forget to change it from top chat to live chat.
Nobody wins.
Don't be like the Angry
The rule
Ginger.
of law and the legal process was handled, and I'm sure all of America
Yeah, I saw that
was,
UK's
that
he's in
fair,
trouble in the
unbiased,
UK
and
now
justice
too.
was done.
Should go right to fucking jail.
Here's the GOP gracefully accepting the verdict. and
Oh,
announcing
fucking
justice
turtle man.
has finally been served.
This is a case that never should have been brought in the first place.
There are plenty of Democrats, Soros, left-wing Marxist prosecutors
Oh yeah.
prepared to charge people on the right with crimes in order to get them.
Dude, you remember Marco Rubio used to be like a normal politician? Listen to what he just said. He used to be like a well, I wouldn't say normal, but remember when he was like the rising star on the right?
Should have been brought.
Listen to
in
the words
first
this
place.
There
dumbass
are
man
plenty of
says.
Democrats,
Soros, left-wing Marxist prosecutors. Like, Jesus Christ, man. It's like literal brainwashing that, like, you just drop a keyword and these people are like, that's the one I like to hear. Oh, it makes me so angry inside. Leftist, Marxist, communist, fascist, Soros. Jesus Christ.
Soros, left-wing Marxist prosecutors
Turn up the volume.
prepared
Got
to
it.
charge people on the right with crimes in order to
That better?
get them out of politics.
Travesty of justice, sham of
Let
a
me know,
crime.
Mike.
We
Let
are
me
the
know.
rule of law party. Chaos is not a conservative value, and we have to fight back, and we will.
Okay, so the trial was a scam, a show trial, a travesty, and a rigged conviction.
Wait, so what is this? Is this the law? What's going on over here?
How? So let's analyze that. First of all, Mike Johnson said they brought the trial this close to the election to screw up Trump. Except that Trump and his attorneys tried to delay
Yeah,
the trial 8
fucking
times.
exactly.
Which would have put the trial even closer to the election. Hell, we only have 6 months until America chooses between freedom or fascism, between democracy or a demigod, between diapers and dementia,
An anomaly. The wall, the barrier, name it, peaches.
or wisdom and a walker.
Joe Biden's not too old to be president.
I keep hearing the GOP saying the DOJ's been weaponized. It's a state case, cowboy.
Shit.
DOJ wasn't involved at all. Come
Yeah, it's not the department.
Trump
They
did
did it
it,
on purpose.
and he got convicted of it.
They didn't. Yeah.
Bad baby.
They say it's Biden going after his political opponent. Well, Pumpkin, if that was the case and Biden was a dictator, wouldn't Trump be in jail or have fallen out a window?
Yeah.
He's been convicted. But no, he's out free.
That's what I keep saying is like all of these things that people keep saying like, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. It's like, why aren't all these things happening? You know, somebody the other day was talking about, transgenders and, oh, everything to do with transgenders, it's so bad. It's all mental health and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so if that's all it is, then why aren't they committing like crazy amounts of crimes? It's just like the immigrant thing. Again, it's like, don't you think that if terrorists were everywhere in America, the shit would be a lot worse? And then they like try and bring in some conspiracy theory, weird bullshit about like some places that caught on fire. I'm like, are these terrorists just not very good at their jobs? Like, are they just like, were they like C rate or D rate? Did somebody go on Fiverr and pick up a couple terrorists? Did we get like discount, natural value, budget terrorists? Is that what's going on in America? Because it's like they're just flooding across the border. Military-aged men with six-pack abs and boots. They're all terrorizers, and they're flooding into the United States of America, and then they're going to McDonald's. Like, it's like, it drives me nuts to like, people are like, just look around you. And I'm like, yeah, no terrorists. They're like, the bridge, though, the Baltimore Bridge. It's like, yeah, that fucking, they've already proven that it wasn't a terrorist act. They're like, yes, it was, though. You just got to jump through some mental hoops and he'll get you there. Like, it is such a strange thing. It is so
Wouldn't
strange.
Trump be in jail or have fallen out a window?
What up,
He's been
Agoff?
convicted. But no, he's
What
out
up, Naughty
free,
Nana?
talking about how they're taking away his freedom. Psst, come here. Trump did it.
If you guys
and he got
haven't followed
convicted of
Naughty
it.
Nana, you better go follow Naughty Nana.
Biden won't even pardon his
I just
own
wanna be
son
like
on
Naughty
a gun
Nana when I
charge.
grow up.
A gun charge that no one's ever been charged on.
What up, Bandito?
But the judge in Hunter Biden's case is a Trump appointee. Yeah, where are all those Second Amendment people
Exactly.
now? Second Amendment. Oh, wait, it's Hunter? Hang him. Hey, Buttercup.
Exactly.
Trump did it, and he got convicted of it.
Yeah, if Biden was such a crazy dictator that's pushing us towards communism and he's dividing America and attempting to take away all of our rights, why the fuck would he let them put his son on trial? Like, this is his Department of Justice. And if I remember right, the Hunter Biden trial is an actual federal trial, too. So it's a case that's actually happening through the Department of Justice, unlike the New York trial, as Ty is pointing out, which was a state crime, which had nothing to do with the Department of Justice. But all those words don't mean anything to Trump supporters. They don't care that the shit that they say doesn't make sense. They don't care that the results of the supposed actions that people are taking don't show. There's no effect from them. They don't care about that. They have convinced themselves that this is the reality of the situation, and there is absolutely no fucking way you will convince them differently. It's really weird to watch.
And that's the game!
The judge was a Biden plant. Well, actually, it was found that Judge Merchan actually did give money to the Biden campaign.
Oh,
he
no
gave
shit.
$15 in 2020.
That's
Does that
crazy.
$15 mean the judge should recuse? I will tell you what. When these guys recuse, this one whose wife busses douchebags to the insurrection, and this guy who flew flags of the insurrection over
job.
both
Good
of his
job,
homes.
Nana.
So when
I'm
these
glad you're
guys
back.
recuse, we'll talk
They do.
about
They
it.
love being scammed.
Face it, Trump did it, and he got convicted of it.
The truth shall set
Yeah, exactly,
you
James.
free!
But let's talk about weaponizing the DOJ, because Trump used the DOJ to keep Michael Cohen in solitary. He used the DOJ to go after Hillary and Biden, withheld weapons from Ukraine for dirt on Biden, then pardoned criminal after criminal after criminal after criminal.
Bannon going to jail
Trump
is
did
crazy.
it, and he got convicted of it. A jury of 12 normal citizens decided that the evidence showed beyond any reasonable doubt
And Bannon
that
didn't
this
even
guy
need to go to jail.
is a
He could have
porn star
avoided it, but
screwing,
his
cheating,
dumbass-
corrupt, bribe-paying liar that will do anything to win the presidency, including treason and violence.
Yep.
And they convicted him of it. 34 times! Trump did it. He's a convicted felon. And here are some things convicted felons cannot do. They can't travel abroad. So I guess we gotta put a boot on that plane.
The goddamn
can't bear arms
pit
or
is
own
blue!
guns, 'cause Trump can't hold a gun with his tiny hands anyway. He can't be on a jury because he'd sleep the whole time. No public social benefits and housing. And some felons lose parental benefits, but Trump really never used his parental benefits anyway. Felons also can't vote. But they can run for president. Unfucking believable.
Joe Biden's not too old to be president.
I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon update. You know, I wish we didn't have to talk about this every week, but for God's sakes, you can't vote, but you can be president. You can't hold a gun,
that is pretty fucking
but you
nuts,
can send
dude.
An army in who all have guns. Absolutely no sense. I think we should pass a new law. That if you're just a base level douchebag, you can't be president.
Oh, dude, Titus is the best. Oh man, it is so strange. But I said this, I think, last week. We're only like a step above Australia as far as being a penal colony goes. In that book I'm reading from David Lipsky, The Parrot in the Igloo, he talks about English people coming over to America during the height of electricity, when electricity first was being put in everybody's homes. And he talked about Americans, and he was like, he pretty much described Americans as a bunch of escaped felons that were extremely inspired and motivated. And I was like, yeah, that's right. It was like, Americans are like both completely out of control, fucking insane and crazy, but also they get some shit done. And I was like, fair, that's fair. I like presidents who can go to Europe without their parole officer's approval and who don't call fallen veterans suck. Exactly, Agolf. Exactly. Oh, most people you went to with high school are Trump supporters? Oh, I bet you. No, I'd say most of mine is not. Yeah, Bannon is a pussy, and it's fucking hilarious. The Bannon thing's hilarious. Like, he didn't have to go to jail. He could have just went and testified. He got held in contempt. Like, a bunch of these people are like crying and bitching, and I almost feel like they're playing it going to prison now. I feel like a lot of these dudes are doing this for like street cred, because it's like now they get to like tell people that they've been to prison. And it's so strange, because do you guys remember a time when conservatives hated anybody that went to prison? Like, if you were a felon, you were like the worst possible person to the classic Republican. And when I say classic, I mean the 1990s. Like, you guys remember that shit? You know, when it was black people? You guys remember when it was like any black dude that went to prison they're like, that guy should never be allowed to work again. He should never get any kind of benefit from the state. He should be blackballed from society. And you're like, okay, so your president, the guy who's running for president for you guys, he's a felon now. And they're like, yeah, and that's a good thing. Yeah. It's fucking so weird, man. I just really, I can't wrap my mind around this shit. I should stop trying. That's going to break my brain. Trying to understand the thinking behind Trump supporters and their logic is what's going to actually break my brain. All right, so this is Right Plight. I put Right Plight's channel in there. Here you go one more time. I'm pretty sure that's Right Plight's channel. This is our fellow subscriber, Right Plight, who makes these videos. I'll put Nana's in there too. We'll get Nana's channel in the chat as well, because you guys should be supporting Naughty Nana. You guys should be supporting Right Plight. They're good people, and good people support good people. So here we go. This is a video Right Plight made, and I had to click the yes, this has AI in it, because Right Plight uses AI. Here we go.
Hi there again, MAGA morons. Seeing as Steve Bannon was just ordered to report to prison on or before July 1st, I felt it was time to give you an update on some incarcerated Republicans. Here's a few of the Trump world's finest specimens. We've got Rudy Giuliani. He's fucking broke. He's getting broker. He's hawking shit coffee or some nonsense like that. Jenna Ellis fake crying as she reads an apology letter to the judge.
Oh, that
Sidney
was
Powell
amazing.
ditto. Kenneth Chesbro was found guilty of 8 felonies and only got a 5-year suspended sentence. Do you know what that means? It means he's probably been squealing so much his throat hurts.
And he
Peter
has
Navarro,
been.
that waste of space,
Yeah.
is rotting in a jail cell right now for contempt of Congress. I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned Steve Bannon.
Aw.
He's going away for 4 months for money laundering and
Aw.
other shady stuff for that We Build the Wall scam. More like we line
Hold
our
on.
pockets, right, Stevie boy? Oh, I
Hold
heard
on,
today
right-
that you served for
right
7
play. I need some confirmation. What is that? What is that? That is like a. Does he have a tumor? Is that a tumor? What the fuck? Whose body is shaped like that? Like, I mean, even when I get hefty, when I get big, that's not a roll. That's like a. He might be hiding some rolls. That looks like that might be a ham. That might be a whole ham. Steve Bannon might have actually been caught in the act of stealing a canned ham. I have never seen a person's liver on the outside of their body. This dude might not be human. Allegedly. What the fuck is that? We're gonna have to start a poll on what is that under Bannon's shirt.
More like we line our pockets, right, Stevie boy? Oh, I heard
It's a
today that you served for
colostomy
7
bag?
years and
That's a
achieved the rank of
possibility.
lieutenant in the United States Navy. What the hell happened to you, man? We all know about
Enlarged
Michael
liver.
Cohen. I love you, you poor bastard. Everyone go over to Midas Touch and tell him I said
Oh.
something nice. I don't care what. Just make up something nice. Dude got a raw deal in the worst sort of way. If you think you're going to be disappointed if Trump doesn't get jail time, just imagine how Michael Cohen would feel.
Dude.
The entire country owes that man some
Fucking for
flowers or
real.
chocolates or something like that. Anything but a porn star. I'll put it this way, Michael. If Trump was sentenced to a month in the stocks, and each of us got one rotten tomato, I'd give you mine, buddy. Moving right along, we have Paul Manafort, a man with the worst first sentence on Wikipedia for someone in politics. Remember how we say anything the Republicans claim the Democrats did is actually an admission of guilt? Yeah, so Paul Manafort is the
Yeah.
reason why they claim that there was a conspiracy with the previous president of Ukraine and the Biden family. Also, this Manafort
Yeah, a
schmuck is such an
convicted
upstanding citizen that he was sentenced to house arrest during trial, but was ordered to jail because he was threatening witnesses. Only the best people, right, Donald?
Only
George
the best.
Papadopoulos was found guilty of telling fibs to the feds. We got Roger Stone, of course, the man who looks like an 80s cartoon villain. That photo is from Trump's inauguration, by the way. He was found guilty for making false statements to Congress.
Dude, right beat me to that one. I was gonna say, what does this motherfucker look like he's from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This dude looks like he stole his whole goddamn fashion sense from a fucking 1990s movie about a cartoon rabbit in the real world. This motherfucker looks like he's about to fall into a vat of toxic materials and come out with clown makeup on. What the fuck is this? It's like they have embraced this shit so hardcore right now that I would not be surprised if they actually have a super group. What the fuck is going on?
And oh, look, more witness tampering.
Oh.
Rick Gates, another Gold Star-esque clown. This guy was found guilty of conspiracy against the United States, something everyone wants on their resume. We also can't
Sorry,
forget about
Eric.
Alan Weiselberg,
Sorry.
Donald Trump's CFO. He had his fingers in every shady deal Trump
What the
made
fuck
for
is
decades.
that, though?
Now, I'm probably missing some, but let's take a look over on the blue team. Is Hillary Clinton in jail? No. What about my son, Hunter? Maybe Nancy Pelosi? No. Did Dr. Fauci get locked up? Nope. These morons
just
can't even
keep
get Alec
winning,
Baldwin in
boys.
cuffs, and he snuffed someone out on video, for fuck's sake.
The doctor I went and saw him, and he said I'm what you call a Dracula.
Oh, good shit, right play. Good shit, right play. That is amazing. Always happy to see, maybe I'm going to get my own coaching tree of subscribers that become right plights of the world and get out there and make new videos. If you guys have any interest in starting a channel and speaking out about all of the shit that we talk about, you guys can see it right there. It took Right Plight 30 days to become monetized. So if you think you can't do it, Right Plight did it. So that's amazing. I all props to you, dude. That was a great video. All right, so this is that Luke Beasley video, and it's about Donald Jr. I get tired of talking about Donald Trump. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait for Donald Trump to go away. I think I want to get back to loving, all the things I love, and I still do, obviously. But Donald Trump sucks the air out of the room. He really does. It doesn't leave any room for talking about anybody else in politics. It's like the dude is just an attention whore. And he's not a very good one either. It's like you don't like leave afterwards like, okay, it was $20, but you know, even for $20 that wasn't too bad. No, it's actually bad. Like you paid $20 and you're like, I think I got ripped off. But once he's gone, you think about like what's left over. And I've said this before, that people should start to talk, and this is one of the reasons I want to talk to you guys about the righteous mind with Jonathan Haidt, is that in the righteous mind he talks about the hive mind mentality and how the hive mind is generally a pretty good thing. It actually works out really well when you have good goals and stuff. But the hive mind mentality is exactly what you're seeing in the MAGA culture right now. We had that person come on that wanted to talk about Trump in the last live stream that I said, let's talk about, you talk about 4 things that he's done bad, and I'll talk about 4 things that Joe Biden has done bad, and that person didn't want to talk about it, right? And in doing that, they started posting their conspiracy bullshit that all of them post the same shit over and over. And I go, you guys always think you're like some kind of unique snowflake that like no one thinks like you think outside the box. You're not on the left, you're not on the right, you've got thoughts that no one else has. And I go, but you guys all repeat like the same shit that each other does. So really, you're just like the libertarians, the guy that was like, I grew a beard and all of us grew beards so that way we could be different. And it's like, but then that just makes you like all the dudes in your party. So now you're not different. You're now just like them. Like that's the hive mind. And I really think that MAGA as a whole has became this hive mind of sorts. They believe they are a movement. They do not believe anymore that they are just there for Donald Trump. They believe that just like QAnon, that they have become like a branch of QAnon. Just like QAnon, they believe that these things that they've talked about, that they've gotten on everybody's channel and spewed and regurgitated, that these things actually are real and they matter and that they're going to do something about it. And, you know, I'm not real concerned because they're quite chaotic. They're not a very good corporation or hive mind. But if you think it's going away, it's not going away. After Donald Trump goes away, these people are still going to exist. And most importantly, Donald Jr. is still going to be around. And I can say this, and I think I can say this with confidence, is that where we couldn't laugh at Donald Trump and not take him seriously because some motherfuckers are going to vote for him, I think we can 100% laugh at Donald Trump Jr. and we don't have to worry about people voting for him. But don't nobody in Donald Trump's camp say, hold my beer right now, okay? Because Bond Girl, that was the name, yeah. What up, Tom? It's like, holy shit. I think we might be able to just laugh at Donald Trump Jr.'s weird ass and not be concerned that people might vote him into the presidency. But I could be wrong. Maybe that'll be a poll next
I have
time.
something for you. Oh, goodness.
Let's listen to Luke
this
talk
is,
about this. I haven't
some
seen this,
whacked,
so we're going to see what this is.
Stuff. Donald Trump Jr., who we've been keeping an eye on lately as he sort of spirals out of control. Just in a general sense, but definitely in this interview. He joined up with, for an interview,
James.
a guy named Russell Brand. And Russell Brand now, I know he was an actor at some point, and aside from the sexual assault allegations and all that, one of the things that he's now known for is the show that he does, the fact that he's a right-wing political commentator. But important to keep in mind, he's one of these sort of I'm above partisanship, enlightened, in the middle, but my middle just happens to be super MAGA. I'm not really a Republican or Democrat because I'm something special. I'm a special party.
That's literally what I was just talking about.
And I happen to only push MAGA nonsense. So
swear
there's
I
a lot of those
haven't seen
people
this.
that I've told you about in the past. He's one of them. And this interview was completely out of control with where it went. I do have to warn you also before playing this first clip. The setting to me is strange. I have a lot to say about it. I don't know if I want to include all that up front because I know you do want to see some of this sooner rather than later.
Luke
but
Beasley, he's struggling
let's
like
go ahead
I
and
do.
get into it, then I'll criticize the aesthetic.
Good to see
What
I'm
do you
not
think
the
it
only
means
one.
when people from different cultural pockets
shit.
find themselves?
I wasn't listening to what he said. Was saying Russell Brand is the guy who's running this interview, and yes. So if you guys want the literal example of what I was just saying about MAGA and thinking that they're the middle, it's Russell fucking Brand, dude. I cannot believe that Russell Brand became like one of the faces of this movement. And it's because Russell Brand, and I say this about MAGA and conspiracy people in general, is Russell Brand was a guy that, like, 6 months, 8 months before COVID hit, might have told you about how he's not sure. He's not sure that we landed on the moon. There's a lot of evidence that shows that maybe we didn't. He would pull one of those fucking things. But I think all of those people, they just saw their chance, right? Like, this is their chance. Also, I am body shaming the shit out of everybody right now. What is this? What is this? What peak performance looks like? Is it? I thought if you did cocaine, you'd be in a little better shape than this. And what's up with this furniture? This is the furniture of an enlightened person right here. Also, Russell Brand, stop sitting like you a 16-year-old high school girl, okay? What's up with the polar bears in the background? All right, Luke Beasley was like, I don't want to talk about the background, and I was like, dude, we're going all in. We're going all in. What is? I think the polar bears are kind of tight. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. And why is there a fucking deer looking over the shoulder of Don Jr.? Also, are they on a golf course? What the fuck is going on? Hold on. Oh, man. These videos are
I do
amazing.
have to warn you also before playing this first clip.
Not if you do it after the gym.
The setting to me is strange. I have a lot to say about it. I don't know if I want to include all that up
Tom,
front.
It's so weird
I know
that
you do want to see some of this
he was a
sooner
huge
rather than
conspiracy
later.
theorist, but, yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into it. Then I'll criticize
good.
the aesthetic.
What do you think it means when people from different cultural pockets find themselves allying on the basis that now there is so much freedom, there is so much, impediment to freedom, so much censorship, so much control, and so much to be afraid of when it comes to establishment authority that new alliances simply have to be formed?
And then that's just something you need to watch so that you can hear this from Don Jr. I guess they were just spending a lot of hours podcasting because now it's darker outside.
Can you imagine hanging out with Don Jr. and Russell Brand? I'm just going to be honest, the cocaine is probably fire, okay? I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm not saying anybody should do drugs. I would never do that, allegedly. I'm just saying it's probably pretty good stuff, let's be honest, okay? But could you imagine sitting between those two? I would literally just drown myself in that lake behind them. I'd be like, I'm going to go pee real quick. Just got to pee. And then you just hear a splash. And you'd never see me again. My ass would be at the bottom of that lake like Jason fucking Voorhees in Crystal Lake.
Form of bureaucratic tyranny.
And I think that tyranny is sort of evolving. It's interesting, right?
Don Jr.'s house?
People like me caught on to what was happening on the censorship because I had a big social sort of following.
Yeah. No, right. I got that. But we did yes. Okay. Corporate is breathing down my neck. I don't want to have to say this again. I know I've done it too much. But if you could please click the subscribe button, that would be fantastic. 2 days ago, we got 10,000 subscribers.
Now.
Yesterday, we got 6,000.
So
That's still
smooth.
incredible.
Like,
that used to take weeks and weeks and weeks. But let's see if we can do another 10K subscriber day today just by clicking that
Don't forget to like and subscribe Luke Beasley's
prior
channel.
to getting into politics, right? So when you were, a reality show, The Apprentice, and whatever it may be, when I was pushing that out, I was agnostic. It's entertainment. It's not, I could see what was happening. So, but because I do my own social, when I hit that button, I know what it's going to do. I know when the tweets, or whatever it may be, a post, this is a good one. That's going to go hot. It's going to go big. But then
so hot, just hot stuff coming down the pipe from Donald Trump Jr. on social media.
This one where I look like an insane crackhead is going to be fire.
You get 1,000 retweets in the first hour and 7 more over the next 24, and you're saying, wait, what just happened? Mm-hmm. So, I called this.
Dude, Don Jr. has a social media problem. That's the kind of talk that you have when you have a Twitter problem, dog. You're like, I got like 1,000 likes on that last one. Yeah, it was really good. I'm still high off of that. Or it's the cocaine. I can't tell which.
This out, I'm being censored. How do you know? It's like, well, because yesterday when my average tweet did 5,000 retweets, today it's doing 13 just double digits, not 13,000, 13. And I'm like, something happened. And it's very palpable. But now it's sort of interesting. I see, AI is getting involved. And
right. So, okay.
AI.
I'm trying to organize how I want to respond. First of all, podcast listeners, you're not seeing this, but they're smoking cigars.
Dude, Charlie Sheen. LaVon. Why is Charlie Sheen not involved?
It's fine to just do whatever in an interview.
Winning.
It's always strange to me when they try to do this. Oh, oops, you just caught us in a normal guy type of hangout. There happens to be cameras and microphones, but we're just sort of hanging out, sort of the Joe Rogan, drinking, smoking, because we're just a couple of guys. And this is a political discussion. I don't know.
Also,
it's
why
just
did
a strange
they
vibe
change
to me.
chairs?
I sound like Don Jr., goodness. But also, and this is what I was hesitant to bring up, you're in an interview. I don't care how casual you're making it. Flip-flops. Flip-flops. Come on, Don. Then last thing about the aesthetic, then I'll respond to what he had to say. It is funny that the message from Don Jr., from Russell Brand, is that Biden's America.
Like, am I wrong? Why did they switch chairs? It's such a weird thing in a podcast for all of a sudden now they're in different seats.
America's gone to hell, and you just can't make it in this life, and you can't go anywhere without being attacked by a criminal, and everything's just horrible. Don Jr. calls America now an S-hole country, and they shoot their podcast with a backdrop that is just gorgeous as Donald Trump Jr. is living the most pampered, wonderful life in Joe Biden's America.
Insane.
Obviously, it's a small percentage of people who have this sort of life, but it is weird. It is weird how much that is being shown off as just a couple of guys smoking a cigar,
just
with
like us, dog.
Flip-flops. No one wants to see that, Don.
As us.
Now, to what he said, I know this is not substance. Let's stress the substance of what he had to say. He has complained a lot. He's constantly complaining about. And by the way, this interview gets so much crazier. The next clip I have for you,
I bet it does.
is them thinking the election won't happen. So get ready for that. This is the lighter-hearted stuff. But Don Jr. complains a lot about his algorithms being crushed. He's being shadow banned. They're censoring him. As you heard there, it's a conspiracy. Because he gets good engagement one day, bad engagement the next
we need
day.
to
It's so
ask him to
dramatic
put a
where he
couple of
sees
those
his
back on.
performance go boom, hit a ceiling like that. And it reminded me, as we've reviewed before, of this 2020 post from Donald Trump Jr.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Just watching my algorithms get crushed. I guess I did something to piss off the Instagram guy.
What the fuck is that? I'm dying. What the fuck is that? Why would you? Oh my god. What the fuck, dude? There's so much in all of these pictures, dude. He's laying in bed. Is that like, what is that shirt he's wearing? And why is it shaped like that? What are all these people hiding underneath their clothes? They might be aliens, guys. Allegedly. I gotta make sure I say that. Oh, dude said it. What the hell is this? A t-shirt? Or is it through his blanket? Is that a blanket? Is that a blanket? Oh, shit. I like that this person in the comments is on the same level as me. They're also like, what the fuck is that
one
t-shirt?
day, bad engagement. The next day, it's so dramatic where he sees his performance go boom, hit a ceiling like that. And it reminded me, as we've reviewed before, of this
fuck no,
2020
Tom.
post
Don
from
Jr.
Donald
is
Trump
your
Jr.
dad?
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Just watching my algorithms get crushed. I guess I did something to piss off the Instagram gods, so hopefully you're seeing this stuff anyway. We'll do what we can. Talk to you soon.
He's like a 16-year-old. Oh, what a hard life. Oh, it's so tough to be Trump Jr. laying in your bed in your mansion. Oh, talking about how I guess the Instagram algorithm doesn't work for me anymore, brothers. Just gonna leave this on Instagram, and I hope you guys see it. Life's really hard. Shithole country. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So he's acting like he just has the best understanding of the algorithms.
Amazing.
And he knows his hot content, as he called it, is not going to underperform unless someone's censoring him.
Versace.
Or, contrary opinion, it's because the content isn't really taken off because you're posting videos like that. And that's not exactly what gets suggested to people as good content.
He's like, but dude,
and it is
I'm a
this
rich
ultimate
white dude.
victimhood thing. I will say, maybe at some point he was shadow banned. I have no idea. But the victimhood's always there. And also, as someone who does a lot of social media myself, there's a lot of sort of a no rhyme or reason feeling when you'll upload stuff. We've had streaks where just things are on fire, hot. And then all the...
And I'm going to interrupt Luke Beasley and give my 2 cents on that. And that is the truth. You know, I don't know if you guys saw, but like this Friday, a lot of people used the term MAGA meltdown, right? So my every Friday video is the MAGA meltdown. So that throws off the algorithm because so many people are posting, saying, or using the words in their titles or on their thumbnails or in the descriptions that MAGA is melting down. Now, the conspiracy part of me could be like, people are stealing from me and, oh, this is all like, you know, I'm a victim. But the logical part of me says that the reason that I thought of the words MAGA meltdown was because other people would think of the words MAGA meltdown, and MAGA is melting down. So people are going to use that in their title. So I can look at the fact that my video that I just posted on Friday, by the way, only has like a couple thousand views. Now, all the videos before it had 7,000, 8,000, 14,000, 12,000 views. And I could be like, oh, they're screwing me, they're shadow banning me. Or I could take the logical point of view that when a bunch of people have titles that are similar to mine, that are much bigger than I am, their stuff's going to get shown. They've got more subscribers. They're going to see my little last video from somebody they barely even know, if they know me at all. And they're going to click on, you know, the leftist mafia. They're going to click on the David Pac-Man. They're going to click on the bigger, and that's just... You gotta be logical, and there's just this really weird part of human nature where we're like, everything is against us, everything's fucking me. You know, it's like, I'm really happy that my video even got a couple thousand views. It was maybe 6 months ago, I was talking about, you know, 50, 100 views at a time. Like, you know, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm super happy about it. And if you guys haven't seen it, you can increase the views on my MAGA Meltdown video by going to the channel and clicking on MAGA Meltdown Episode 8. It's the one that has the Asian ladies that look like they're about to drop the most fire hip-hop album of 1994. And, of course, it says MAGA Meltdown right there on the thumbnail. So, help me out, support. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the comments, hit up the comments with a good comment or a bad comment. I don't care. Comments are all, it's all content, and share it if you guys can as well. So I appreciate you guys for everything. But like what he's saying here, it's the reality. Like our dude right plate there is gonna see, you know, like maybe they just keep going up, and sometimes boom, you hit a low level. I have one that's like 200 views in between 6 to have like 2,000, 7,000, 8,000. It's just the way that the algorithm works.
All of a sudden, it feels like, oh, we just lost it. We're not getting the views we were getting the week before. And I think that's just the ebb and flow of social media. But it's always a conspiracy with these individuals. Then things really descend further into madness, and this is said.
I don't think it's beyond the bounds of possibility that some sort of crisis event might take place that prevents an election. It doesn't seem beyond the bounds of possibility that...
Well, it actually seems to me more...
And this is my favorite part of the Doomer conspiracies. The election isn't going to happen. They're going to take Donald Trump out. Joe Biden is actually he's gonna retire, and they're gonna... Michelle Obama. I'll be honest with you, if Michelle Obama jumped up in this bitch, I'd be pretty excited. I'd be like, that was the most fire move of 2024. If Joe Biden stands up there, and I'm voting for Joe. I love Joe. I love Joe's legislation. I love Joe's administration. You know, like I said, I've got some criticisms of Joe Biden, but for the most part, I like Joe, and I will vote for Joe. However, if Joe Biden just like, if he pulled like a fucking WWE move while standing at the podium and he's like, I just want to say that I love you all, but I got a surprise for you. And then like some music, like some Eye of the Tiger comes on, or I Will Survive, fucking Gloria Gaynor comes on, and Michelle Obama comes walking out. Like, dude, shit would be, I'm just saying, it would be pretty fun. It'd be pretty fire, okay? That's going to be my conspiracy theory, okay?
Beyond the bounds of possibility that some sort of crisis event might take place that prevents an election. It doesn't seem beyond the bounds of possibility that...
Well, it actually seems to me more plausible than not, right? Either World War III or, I'm reading about, another, bird flu strain coming out of Mexico. It's like, here we go again, folks. Like, fool me once, shame on you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no, he's going George Bush on us, boys. He's going George Bush on us. And George Bush ruined that saying for everybody, because now everybody that fucking starts to say it is like, oh, fuck, I can't fuck this up. And Donald Jr. does not have the brain cells. Like, he's like, I better slow down. I need to slow down from the coke binge and think this one through before I say it. Holy shit. Let's get it back a second so let's get the full glory of Donald Trump Jr.
Plausible than not, right? Either World War III or, I'm reading about, another, bird flu strain coming out of Mexico. It's like, here we go again, folks. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And now it's like, we're at, like, fool me the 37th time. And it's like,
he got it. He had to think about it. But he got it.
Right. It doesn't take much, Don, to fool you the 37th time.
Keep going for it. Do you see, enough people?
Let's review that again. Come on.
On you, fool me twice, shame on me. And now it's like, we're at, like, fool me the 37th time. And it's like, we're going to keep going for it. Do you see?
We're on the same wavelength right now.
Enough people. Again, I feel obviously I'm so jaded on that. My whole ethos right now is being a sort of that counterculture, trying to see that other argument. But regular people who are working hard to get by.
Okay. And then moves on from that. He's pretty disoriented. Seems a little bit confused about what even he's trying to say.
What a Florida.
And there, Russell Brand says,
it's not beyond trying to make a point. It is amazing.
What's possible for us to imagine, according to Brand, that a crisis will take place, facilitated by, you guessed it, the deep state, that will prevent an election from happening. And Donald Trump Jr. says, well,
and this is one of these weird things that people don't understand. Like, so I'm in the food industry, so I actually hear about a lot of stuff that's like, affects food a lot more often than other people do. Like, currently there's a outbreak of salmonella with cucumbers. I forgot where it's out of, Texas or something like that, allegedly. But the bird flu, it's been around for quite a while. This isn't like news. This isn't, it's gotten worse, and now it's actually showing that it's getting into our milk supply. But supposedly, along with homogenization, as long as the milk's being homogenized, that they can see that it's in the milk, but it's not transmittable to humans because of the homogenization process. Hippies that are drinking raw milk might want to be real fucking careful. They're probably going to be patient zero, to be honest with you. The hippies drinking the raw milk are going to be probably patient zero for the avian flu, because as I understand it, has there been one case? I don't think it's jumped yet. But allegedly, this is not medical advice. What else should I say? This is also not financial advice. I think that people assume when they hear that the avian flu is in these big chicken farms, or that it's in being found, the pathogens are being found in milk, that they're like, oh, they're making this up. All of a sudden, it's come back. And it's like, no, it's always been here. And if you work in the grocery industry, you actually know that, because you're aware of things like egg pricing and chickens. And, the store I work for has a very fresh chicken policy. So, we order it on 2 days before it goes to the slaughterhouse, and then it's sent to us. It's all like super, hyper humane. It's, one of the nicest facilities that you could possibly go to. Super fucking clean, no malpractice, no bad practices or malpractices. So you know, like I need to know these things because if I order chicken and it doesn't show up, I'm immediately like, oh shit, avian flu. Okay, so I got to know that. So I got to go to a different supplier because maybe they weren't affected as bad. But people tend to think that these things are like all of a sudden out of the blue, and they're not. They're not out of the blue. This is not some deep state to change the election thing. The avian flu is always going around and has been going around for a very long time.
Will take place, facilitated by, you guessed it, the deep state.
That's because that shit ain't real chicken, LeBron.
From happening. And Donald Trump Jr. says, well, I'll one-up you on that. I think it's more likely than not that that'll happen, that the election's not going to take place. And you know what is really annoying? Two big points on this.
Oh, boy.
The first is conspiracy theorists are never held accountable. Apparently, people observe this and observe the spewing of these conspiracy theories. It feels good. They get the warm and fuzzies because it's so exciting and titillating to observe individuals say this stuff. But do they never go, all right, I'm going to write down on this day that they predicted it's more likely than not that the election's not going to happen. And then when nothing even close to that happens, I'm going to hold them accountable by stopping my interacting with their content. But they don't do that, and they just keep getting...
Yeah, and I asked a guy whose wife ended up joining QAnon about that. I was asking him, I was like, but doesn't it... what was the one that people keep doing? It's the end of the world shit, right? If you live on the West Coast, there's a dude on the West Coast that's like, I think he's like a preacher, like one of these crazy like evangelicals or whatever. And he has a radio show, and he'll put up like billboards, and you know, he announces it on his radio show. May 21st, 2023 is gonna be the end of the world. We've done the math. We've looked at the Bible. We know the things. Everything seems to be working out to that date. And I shit you not, there's a bunch of people that have literally sold their houses, given away all their worldly possessions, and then of course the day comes and the world doesn't end, as you guys know. And it's the end of the world cults, right? And I asked him, I go, that's a really weird phenomena, because you've got to think that at least some of those people wake up the day afterwards and they're like, okay, yep, you got me. Fucking scam me. What a dick. And he's like, no. He's like, when it came to his wife, it was like they have such dissonance with their own beliefs that when things don't happen, they either make up reasons for why they didn't happen. Like with that guy, he's like, the calculation's rough. 1 × 1 = 2. Wrapping it back around. And they either do that, or they literally just act like they didn't say it. And that's one of the things he was saying with her. It was like, you know, she would say stuff, and then he would say, you said this at this time, and she would just deny that she ever said it. She would just act like, no. And that's got to be crazy, because that would make me feel like I was going crazy. If I was in that conversation and I'm like, you fucking said this stuff, and that person looked at me and was like, I never said that, I'd be like, holy shit, am I going crazy? Did I imagine that? Like, can you imagine what that would do to you? Oh my God.
To make these absurd predictions, push these absurd conspiracy theories, they're never correct, and then they dare to say that
James.
Conspiracy
Grow
theories
your own chickens. This is the way to go.
Are things that just come true a few months later, whatever the phrases they use, even though that never actually materialized with these goobers, for lack of a better term. The second point that is really irritating, and I'll try to get onto another clip here without getting into a 5-minute rant about this, is that they are acting as if Biden would have so little respect for democracy that he would
Thanks, John.
call off because of a crisis.
First of all, how do you
we
know
just
I
had
don't
a
like your music?
pandemic.
I might like your music.
And that didn't cause the election to be called off. But Biden, I guess, has less respect than Trump, so he would figure out a way to call off the election, even the Constitution.
The left spread the conspiracy the elections wouldn't happen because of COVID, and Trump would take absolute power. I don't remember that. I'll look into that, but I don't remember that. If you got like an article or something, you can email me that stuff. Feel free to always email me whatever you want. Even the conspiracy theorists. Like I said, I get more conspiracy news than anything else, because conspiracy theorists love to tell you about the shit they believe. That shit is like, I gotta sift through the shit to find the normal stuff, okay? It's like 100 conspiracy theorist emails, memes, videos to the one informational. But I did not remember that one. So for sure, send that one to me. I'll check it out.
Usually there's no elections except we have to have the election, and that would be indicative of Biden's lack of respect for democracy when Donald Trump Jr.'s father didn't try to call off the election, but after the election tried to prevent the results from prevailing and tried to stay in power despite losing. And they have the gall to pretend like Biden would do anything close to that when we know that Biden, as painful as it would be.
But they started this with Obama. Like I said before, is like a lot of this stuff actually comes from when Obama was his second term, the Tea Party Patriots, who in my opinion are what kind of evolved into the MAGA people, they all thought that Obama was going to use the military for a third term, and that even has worked into the conspiracy that they now believe Joe Biden actually isn't the president, that it's actually Obama, which is another like really weird way to say something, because if you wanted to, you could make like a pretty strong argument, right? Like I don't know that you could make it, but it would be a lot more logical. You could make a logical argument that Obama has influence on Joe Biden's decisions, right? Like you could say George Bush does. You could say that like any politician that formerly was a president probably has the ear of the current president and is probably capable of in some way, having contact with him. So if you wanted to like make a real logical argument, it would be more of something like, I think that Joe Biden is continuing Obama's policies from the 2012, 2008 time, and that's what I'm saying. Not that Obama is in charge, but like, if you said that to me, I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see where you're coming from with that. Sure, there's probably some influence. I'd need it to be shown to me what exactly you mean. But no, like literally people are like, no, that's not what I'm saying. They're like, I'm saying Obama is the president. Allegedly.
For Biden and those hoping Biden wins, if he indeed lost, he would concede and he would facilitate a peaceful transfer of power to Trump. Unlike what Trump did with Biden, didn't concede and did everything through allegedly illegal means to prevent Biden from coming into office after he won. Here's another moment.
They create a narrative. You see the sound bites. You see every aspect in mainstream media picking up on every talking point. It's always the same. You put in the 3 words and it becomes gospel, right? Now, as of this week, it was convicted felon, like, without looking at the details of this case, right? Convicted felon is the new.
This is what I'm saying, man. I'm with Luke. How do you watch this kind of shit and like there's no logic, man? Look, even if I'm mad, even if I got fucking put on trial and I'm convicted of some shit I didn't do, I'd still be a convicted felon. I'd be upset about being a convicted felon. I'd be like, that shit's bullshit. But like, you can't air quote convicted felon. Dude is literally a convicted felon. And in fact, if you actually read it, it becomes more apparent that he's a convicted felon. There isn't like, you just gotta do your own research. There's no research. You can do as much research. And why did they switch chairs again? What the fuck is going on?
New one.
They always have their 3 words. Convicted felon.
Biden can't run on anything, so he's running against a convicted felon.
Exactly,
How can
John.
you allow
They
that?
switched seats again.
Yes.
Disregarding all of the corruption of his family, all of the corruption and illegalities that his son has done. I mean, you compare me online, to Hunter Biden, and I am the devil, and he is someone who simply suffers from addiction, is just a total piece of garbage.
It's very weird. Nana.
Before playing this part of it where he complains about Hunter Biden, and I have an interesting theory on why he's obsessed with Hunter Biden. Russell Brand is really irritating me with his so profound, Don. All Don Jr. said is the left is calling Trump a convicted felon. Why? Because Trump's a convicted felon. And Russell's acting like he's listening to some fucking spiritual guru.
Deepak Chopra.
Bring him to the next realm. Wow.
Right now, as of this week.
You gotta admit that's a skill, though. That's a hell of a skill to be able to sit there and, I mean, unless he really does actually believe this shit, but that's a hell of a skill to sit there and like act like you're interested in some shit Don Jr. is saying. Like, that's high level acting, guys. I think I may not have given Russell Brand enough credit for being a good actor, because he either truly 100% believes this shit, or he is participating in a level of acting I have not seen since Shakespeare, which I've never seen Shakespeare, so I'm fucking lying. Oh, that is so weird.
Some spiritual guru, bring him to the next realm. Wow.
Now,
Catherine and
as of this week, it was
what up,
convicted felon.
Also,
without looking at the details of this case, right? Convicted felon is the new one. Joe Biden can't run on anything, so he's running against a convicted felon. How can you allow that?
Yes.
Disregarding all of.
We looked up a while back, looked up whether or not you're a convicted felon once the jury has decided you're a convicted felon, or if it's when you are sentenced, which he's sentenced on July 11th. Everything that I found shows that the moment that a jury finds you guilty of a crime, you are a convicted felon and are labeled as such. And in fact, actually, I could prove that, because the Department of Justice is already talking about taking his third gun. So Donald Trump has a concealed carry permit, and 2 of the guns he turned over before the trial, and now they're talking about how they're going to go about getting the third gun from him, which is just a weird thing that only, being the former president allows. Like, if you are any given person, they'd just be like, turn that shit in, we'll see you on Tuesday. And if you don't come in here on Tuesday, your ass goes to prison. But if you're a former president and a rich white politician, or just a rich politician, I don't think it even has anything to do with race, your ass is gonna, be able to apparently just, they've got to get together and plan how they're going to do that. But no, I do believe that you are a convicted felon from the moment that the jury decides that you are guilty. And obviously, if the verdict is overturned, which I don't think it will be, at that point you would be no longer a convicted felon. But up until that point, you would be a convicted felon. That's how I understand
the corruption of his family, all of the corruption and illegalities that his son has done. I mean, you compare me online, to Hunter Biden, and I am the devil, and he is, someone who simply suffers from addiction, not is just a total piece of garbage, has sold out our country. I get it. I am not the upstanding citizen that he is, according to CNN. But the reality is that doesn't jive if people get below the surface.
Okay, so there's so much wrong about that.
I know that feeling.
Yes,
I know that feeling.
The reason why you are criticized in a way that is different from how we speak about Hunter Biden is because you have decided to place yourself as a public surrogate of your father's and enter into the political realm where you're saying you want to be a defender of him. You want to appear on Fox News to talk about the race. You want to do your podcast Triggered, where you trigger the libs and all that. That's a different role than Hunter Biden being a private citizen, not speaking at campaign rallies for Joe Biden, not doing all those things, and y'all diving into his life in a way that has been creepy stuff. March Taylor Greene showing nude images of Hunter Biden in a hearing room.
The dong pics.
Like a creep, okay? And so that's...
Yeah, and, there's a huge difference. And like I said about this before, first of all, if you're a conservative, you're on Hunter Biden's side, because you do not believe that there should be background checks. You do not believe that he should have had to answer. I mean, Lindsey Graham even came out and said, and any time that Lindsey Graham is on the right side and you're on the wrong side, you are on the wrong side. Holy shit. Libertarians specifically, any libertarian that watches my show that sits here and says that they want Hunter Biden to go to prison is not a fucking libertarian, okay? And I keep telling you guys that anyways. You're not libertarians anyways. But solid try, good effort. We all think we are for at least 2 years of our political being. But if you're a conservative, you are against the laws that Hunter Biden has to check that box off. I myself am for background checks. I think that the law that he currently is being put on trial for saying he wasn't an addict when he was an addict, that seems like a really dumb law to me, because of the fact that it's like, how do you determine something like that? Like, where a person's what is that? What is it? Mens rea or whatever, that you have to determine that the person knew that they were an addict at the time when they checked the box. That's a really strange way to prosecute a crime. But and that's probably why, like Lindsey Graham said, is most of the time people aren't prosecuted for that for checking that box and getting in trouble for it. So that being said, if he's found guilty, he's found guilty. That's the way our law system works. I don't think that it's right. I think that maybe we should, do something about that moving forward. And it's actually good that it's been brought to the light because of that. I'm all for red flag laws. I'm all for background checks. I'm all for psych evaluations, in my opinion. And even if you wanted to, I guess you could, probably fucking test me and find out whether or not I've done crack cocaine in the last 36 hours. I don't know if I'm for that or against that. But there's a big difference between Donald Trump Jr., who isn't on trial, by the way. Good for him, and Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, whether or not the guy has lived a good life or whether or not he's a good person, is not really the question. You want to look more at like where he came from and what has happened to him in his life. I mean, the guy lost his mom, lost one of his siblings in the car crash with his mom, lost his brother to cancer. He got addicted to crack cocaine. This is not like a story that generally you want to like get deep on and like, start like kicking that person. It's not a very good story to beat the shit out of the person on. So when we're comparing Don Jr. and his former cocaine problem with Hunter Biden and his crack problem, where like he lost fucking his mom and his sibling in a fucking car accident and then his brother later to cancer. It's like, it's so weird, the lack of empathy. If that's even, like I said before, put the person in the same place. Like if Don Jr. had lost his mom and his sibling and his brother to cancer, I'd have a lot more empathy for Don Jr. I'd be like, all right, hey, the dude's kind of fucked up because he's went through some shit. But like the complete lack of empathy is insane in my opinion.
That's the difference. And no one's pretending. Good
job, James.
Like Hunter Biden is our hero.
Yeah, that's right.
He's our saint. We only...
Some of the comments, John, on the video of Hunter Biden when they're explaining the charges were like, the worst question you could ask an addict is whether or not they're addicted to a substance. In their brain, they think they're not addicted. That's the very point of being an addict, is that you're like, I'm good. I've got it all under control. As you're stealing a TV out of Walmart, to sell for stealing a $700 TV out of Walmart to sell it for $45 on the street corner. Like that's just not logical. It's not logical.
Defend him as far as fact checking the conspiracy theories about him and Joe Biden and all of that, and saying, hey, why are you obsessing so much with this private citizen who's not in a position of power, unlike the children of Trump, especially when Ivanka and Jared Kushner were in the administration, right? So there's a huge distinction there. But I think part of, and I'm going to blame colleague Jack again for this thought because he brought it to my attention, but it's a good thought. But if you think it's too
drug user,
mean,
that's what they asked.
Jack's fault.
Okay. Well, that would be different.
So I think Don Jr. might be a little bit jealous of the
My
love
grandfather was in the Army
that
for
Joe
36
Biden
years, John.
has for
36
Hunter Biden.
years,
And that's why in so many of his podcasts, he's talking about, bless you, talking about Hunter Biden. And even in that speech where he went, I don't snort cocaine, he was talking about Hunter Biden. He's always thinking about Hunter Biden. And I think it's because of moments like this, the leaked voicemail of Joe Biden calling Hunter Biden while Hunter Biden was still addicted to drugs, and the love that exuded from Joe Biden that people like Don Jr. mocked is actually what Don Jr.
Yeah,
wants.
why would you mock that? That's so insane.
I called to tell you I love you. I love you more than the whole world, pal.
Ah.
I gotta get some help. I don't know what to do. I know. You don't
fuck,
either.
Man.
I'm here, no matter what you need. No matter what you need, I love you.
Do you remember?
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with people? Like if that was Donald Trump calling Don Jr. and that was the message we were listening to, like I said, the best thing to do to confront bias is to put somebody you don't like in a place with something that you agree with, or vice versa. if I put Donald Trump in that voicemail and he had that kind of emotion and he was talking to Don Jr. about Don Jr.'s coke problem and he's saying, I love you, man. I'll do whatever it takes to help you. Like, I would have more respect for Donald Trump. I would be like, hey, that's a father. As a father, like, I've thought about this before. Like, you know, when your kids are young and you look at them and they're these, like, beautiful human beings, they're great people. Well, most of them are. Some kids are assholes. Just the truth, okay? And you know, you think about later in life, like, what could happen, you know? Like, Adolf Hitler was probably a pretty, well, he might have been an asshole, actually. But he might have been a good kid, you know? You look at your kids and you're like, man, I hope they never get addicted to drugs, hard drugs. I hope they never, you know, become a severe alcoholic. Man, I hope they never, you know, abuse their significant other, or, you know, that they get caught in doing something that they shouldn't be doing. You know, like, you think about all of these things and my heart goes out to them because, man, that would be that's such a tough conversation. I have family members. My sister was addicted to crystal methamphetamine for a very long time. My father is a severe alcoholic and has done every drug under the sun. You know, my mom has been on every pill you could ask for because my family's fucked up, you know? And that's a really hard life to live when you have a loved one that is dealing with this type of addiction. And to hear that message and to think that people would mock something like that, like, I'm not interested, man. Like I said, even if you have audio of Donald Trump saying that to his son in that manner, I'm not interested in hearing it. That's their private conversation, and my heart goes out to anybody that has to deal with that with their child. That's insane. And I'm sorry, but if you mock that video, if you mock a father loving his child and telling them that he wants them to do better while they go through addiction, you're a fucking terrible person, man. I got no respect for you.
Remember when that voicemail got leaked? Maybe it was something that was removed from the laptop from hell, and MAGA was mocking Biden over it.
Hold on. Oh,
but
do I have one of these people in my chat? This is amazing. Bucking up tyrants. Why nobody think Joe Biden is running the country is because he has lost his mind and can't put on his shoes. Brother, you can't even fucking spell a sentence right. Like, there is no grammar to that shit. It barely makes any fucking sense at all. And you talking shit about Joe Biden, dog? Holy shit. Why is that always the thing? Why do the people always come on here and talk about how dumb or how not smart, how much of a moron Joe Biden is, and then the shit they say in chat is dumb as fuck? Bro, Joe Biden can't put his shoes on? Have you seen a video of Joe Biden without his shoes on or something? Do you got some kind of fucking leaked video of Joe Biden with no shoes on, bro? Like, what the fuck is that? I love these people that are like, he's really stupid. Motherfucker, he's been in the Senate for 50 years and he was president of the United States. You work at fucking Baskin Robbins, dog. Holy shit. Like, you can't actually believe that, right? You're being hyperbolic. You're just trying to be insulting. Tell me that. Tell me you are not being serious. Because that's the dumbest shit. You know that Joe Biden is a career politician. That means he is respected by every fucking world leader there is. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's been on a bike, for fuck's sake. There's only 20 flavors. Oh, fuck. Why do you guys say that shit? Like, why don't you come up with better arguments than that? Like, why is that your argument? He's dumb and he can't put his shoes on. Like, let's hear about his policy. Like, talk about what you think is wrong with the way that he's running an economy. And I don't mean, like, it's bad, look around you. Or he's done a terrible job. You know, like, I want to, like, use real words, real sentences. Like, try to say something that just isn't an insult. Just speak to it, like I've said before. Tell me, what don't you like about the Infrastructure Act? What don't you like about his bipartisan gun legislation? What don't you like about, the American Recovery Act? What don't you like about the Chips and Science Act? Any of those things. Talk about any of those things instead of saying dumb shit like he can't put his shoes on. Like, nobody's going to respect you for that opinion. Well, actually, everybody at MAGA will. So I don't know if you're a MAGA person or not, but they would love that shit over on that side.
I think maybe that's where the Don Jr. obsession with Hunter Biden comes from. He wants the love from Don Trump Sr. that Joe Biden has for Hunter Biden.
RFK apparently can put on his shoes pretty
but
good.
a little serious. Here's more.
This point. It should. I mean, listen, we've been hearing people screaming about fascism for 8 years, 9 years, and yet look at the actions of those people.
You
they
better
are
watch
the ones
yourself,
literally
guys.
trying to jail their political opponents.
Don't make me start on you.
They're literally
What up,
not.
Chris?
They're not even figuratively trying to do that.
They are the ones who, gave a total pass to
when you lose half your
the
IQ,
very
you're
peaceful
just
protesters
cute.
of the 2020 Summer of Love who happened to burn down major cities in America, billions in damage, people actually murdered. You juxtapose that to, January 6th, which, as far as they're concerned, was,
Yeah, what Chris just said. We used to argue about policy, but no more. Like, what part of any of these things that he is saying during this podcast has anything to do with policy? Nothing. Because people don't want to talk about policy. They don't want to talk about legislation. They want to talk about the strength of administration. All they want to talk about is appeals to emotion, and that's it. Oh, yeah, of course. The entire government. Dude, I can, tell you what you're going to say, Buckin. I can literally tell you what you're going to say. Because you are the same person. I'm not even sure. You motherfuckers might be just, creating new accounts and coming on here. I don't even ban you guys, but you guys might just be doing it to make it look like there's more of you. I don't know. But you guys all say the same shit. Let's just read what he says. The entire government is corrupted. The problem is we are not free. Freedom left the check. Jesus, hold on. Brother. Once again, edit this shit before you post it. The entire government is corrupted. The problem is we are not free. Freedom left the chat a long time ago. Imagine the founding fathers and the people who started America, how they would feel now. Well, I can tell you one thing. If I can decipher what you're trying to say here, my friend, I'm trying. So I need a translator. If the founding fathers saw what was going on right now, if we're talking about with Joe Biden, the founding fathers would be 100% for that. If you don't understand who George Washington was as a politician, then you should just quit chat right now, because George Washington was the perfect example, the epitome of what Joe Biden is as a politician. They are almost neck and neck. They're like this fucking close. So as far as the founding fathers and whether or not they would approve of Joe Biden, I guarantee they would. Now, there would be a lot of disagreement on things like corporations having opinions on who's going to be the president or senators, their ability to lobby. But once again, we need to talk about who are the people that were involved and what side were they on when things like Citizens United and fucking Justice Powell's memo were indoctrinated into our society. That we can talk about for sure. But if you're blaming Joe Biden, a person who's literally had stronger antitrust legislation than any president in the last 25 years, no. That's literally what you're supposed to be doing, is using antitrust legislation against these corporations. Now, if you want to ask them what they would think about Donald fucking Trump, yeah. Oh, they would look at all of us and be like, wait a minute. When did you guys get so fucking stupid? That's the only thing. You think Ben Franklin would have been like, Donald Trump's he's that guy right there? It's a real genius. It's a real genius right there. Do you think that anybody back in those days, during a time where America in its youth was pushing further and farther than countries 10 times its size, because the people that were involved were fucking working their asses off and pushing for new innovation? You think they would look at Donald Trump and be like, oh shit, this guy's spitting fire. He knows about loopholes and tax cuts. Oh, hell yeah, brother. Let's get more like him. No, it's not even close. I don't know if I answered that question. Dim Snow Buddy. What's up, Dim Snow Buddy? Tired of the reality TV show that our government has become and people ignoring the awful things that are actually taking place. 100%. Actually, Dim Snow Bunny, even though that has nothing to do with legislation, I agree with that. I agree that the reality TV show that our government has become is fucking stupid. Biden and Trump is the best this country has to be offered. Well, like I said, Florida, if you can speak to the legislation that Joe Biden has put forth that you think is bad for the country, we can have that conversation. But just saying Joe Biden bad is not an argument. Look, I've said this before and I'll say this again. Joe Biden is old as fuck. Are there people in specifically the Democratic Party, but over the entire political realm, that I think that could be, a good candidate for the president of the United States and possibly as good as Joe Biden or better? 100%. Yeah, for sure. Of course I do. But the Joe Biden bad argument is just as stupid as Orange Man bad. Like, you have to have a real strong foundation of reasoning behind why you dislike what the person does. And if the reason you dislike Joe Biden is because he stutters, if you dislike Joe Biden because he's old, those aren't reasons. If you claim he has dementia, that's just not proven through things like watching him actually do full speeches and not 15-second TikToks. If you're concerned that Joe Biden is being laughed at by the rest of the world, that can be debunked very easily by looking at the interactions that he has with other leaders of the world. At the end of the day, if you want to sit here and tell me you think Joe Biden is old, I'm not going to disagree with you. If you want to say that Joe Biden stutters, I'm not going to disagree with you. If you're going to say that Joe Biden fell off his bike, I won't disagree with that. But I'm still going to ask you, what part of his legislation do you disagree with? And the only people that actually have like a strong argument against Joe Biden are people on the left. That's the fucking insanity of all this, is people on the left have some pretty good criticisms of Joe Biden. They have some pretty strong opinions that can be backed up through some type of factual information, even though a lot of it also is appeal to emotion. It's completely non-existent from the conservative side when it comes to Joe Biden. What's up, Pizza? How's it going? I'm sorry if I'm missing some of you guys. Sorry if I'm missing you. So what's something he's done and I don't follow him? Anything? Wait, you want me to talk about something that Joe Biden's done good for the Second Amendment? I don't understand that one. But let's talk about the first one. So what's something good he's done because I don't follow him? So do you want me to go through all the things he's done or just one? So I'm going to start with one while you answer my question, okay? So we're going to start with my favorite. Sorry for everybody that's heard this a million fucking times, but if Florida wants to know. Okay, my favorite thing that he's done is the Chips and Science Act. That's a very wide-ranging thing for me because right now we are in wars in the Ukraine with Russia, by proxy, just like during the Cold War. We are in a war in Israel against Hamas by proxy, once again. And what I don't want to see is America involved in a third war, which would be between China and Taiwan. Now, the Chips and Science Act specifically, it's a very small piece of legislation compared to things like the American Recovery Act or things like the Infrastructure Act. But on what it looks like, just what it looks like, based on the words in the legislation, it's actually a rather important, large piece of legislation because it's going to keep us potentially out of a future war between Taiwan and China because it will bring semiconductor production back to America. It's going to potentially bring 500,000 high-paying, good jobs back to America. We already have construction in places like Colorado, places like Arizona, places like Georgia, of facilities that are going to produce semiconductors. Now, if you don't know anything about semiconductors, high-end semiconductors are included in things like AI, supercomputers, and hypersonic missiles. So that's incredibly important because the next industrial revolution is going to most likely be AI and green energy. Whether or not you believe in those things or not, it doesn't matter. That's where the world's going, and that's where the economy is going. So for America to have a really strong economy, it's going to need to be on the forefront of manufacturing when it comes to things like semiconductors and green energy. In other words, solar panels, windmills, hydroelectric, all that bullshit, right? So when you have that portion coming back, you also need to recognize that what we're doing now is we're growing AI engineers. We're growing people that create the semiconductors, and then we're allowing them to go to other countries like Europe, like Taiwan, because those jobs aren't here in America. So when we're talking about how strong the economy can be in the future for America, we're talking about having semiconductor production back here on U.S. soil. Now, a lot of people will give me shit on this because I say I'm against isolationist policies, and it is an isolationist policy. But the reason that I'm for it and not against it, even though it is an isolationist policy, is because I don't believe all policies should be in one lane. I believe that we should have policies that are good on the global stage, and I believe that we should have policies that are isolationist in the basis of them. So the other things that go on with semiconductor production in the Chips and Science Act is that jobs are going to start to go away from AI. Those jobs that are going to be left over are going to be a part of the building of AI. So we want to have as much of that here, because whether or not you like AI or not, China is going to move forward with it. And we can either be in charge, we can either be in the driver's seat, or China can be involved, or can be in the driver's seat. Because somebody said the other day, they're like, even if it's like nukes, China would be the people that are like, we're not working on AI, we understand it could be bad for the world, we're going to stop, and then they're going to keep working on it. Same shit that happened with CRISPR. So that's the one thing. I don't know if you ask me for more. I can go on and on and on. We can make this a 3-hour video of me talking about all the stuff that I say. Hold on. I just got to look and see if you answered that during all my shit. Dims here's a, yeah, exactly, Chris. That's another great point of view. Yeah. What is wrong with people? I ask myself this every day. But I'm answering, oh, you're not the person I was talking to. You can't defend any president for the last couple hundred years. I can defend lots of presidents for the last couple hundred years. You can't literally give me reasons for why they're wrong, because all you're doing is making appeals to emotion, Buckin. You're like, literally, I'm trying to tell you this. If you want to have conversations where you believe these things, then you should do real research. Stop saying, like, do your research and then going and watching TikToks and memes and fucking listening to Russell Brand on fucking Rumble, because it can't be on YouTube, I don't think. If you really want to talk about these things you want to talk about, Buckin, you need to know better about the things that the people that you are saying did bad, what they did. Like, so if I want to talk about you and your conspiracy theories, then I need to see them. I need to read them. I need to be as involved in researching conspiracy theories as I am in researching legislation from like a president like Joe Biden. And that's where you guys all fail. All of you fail at this. And that is, you stop researching when it comes to what you know about your side, and even then, most time you don't fucking do that. But even if you do, even if I'm giving you grace, you stop researching at where you want to believe something, and then you stop. And then you just make appeals to emotion about what other people do. Or you say, there's this thing and I can prove it, and then everybody that looks into the information that you've given them can disprove it within 5 seconds of seeing it, because you can see that you have to do mental gymnastics to make the thing that you believe true. And if you really want to have conversations, if you really feel this strongly that everybody's corrupt, if you really feel this strongly that there is no president that can be defended for the last 200 years, then you should be able to prove that. It shouldn't be just do your own research. Like, I sit up here, I say the things I believe, and then when you guys ask me stuff, ask me questions about it, I don't go, do your own research, bro. No, I go, here, I'll fucking tell you. Here's all the things that I believe, and this is why I believe them. And on occasion, somebody in this fucking chat's going to be, that's wrong. And I'm going to have to look into that. Earlier, Squid said that thing about the left with COVID and voting. That's going to be in my brain until I look it up, until I think about it in a way that is, I think I want to verify either one way or the other, that what he said is true. That either, yes, they did do that, or no, it seems as though either he misunderstood something that got said, or maybe it was propaganda, or maybe it was fake news, or whatever. But I want to get to a point where I verify it. Let's see. Who are you guys talking about right now? How is DeSantis in a decent government? Tired with inflation. Okay, you guys aren't talking to me. Unless you guys like at me, I'm going to just go back to the video. So at me if you have questions. Obviously, Florida has disconnected from chat with me. This is the platform. No, the platform lets you post, definitely lets you post a long enough explanation. The problem with you and every conspiracy theorist out there, Buckin, is you feel like you have to gish gallop over every single person that you talk to, because you know that the first time somebody researches the very first thing you say, and you have to respond to the fact that they're responding to the first thing you say, you get frustrated because you don't want to be told you're wrong. You want to be told you're right, and that's why you guys live in echo chambers. Thank God you're here right now, Buckin. I like you being here, bud. Keep coming back. But the thing about that is you should be able to say one thing you believe, and then you should be able to defend it. And I don't even mind. Like, people, I ask people all the time, send me emails, send me, you can link stuff in chat. I can't look at it on channel because if I click it and it's something that's against TOS, I can get in trouble for that. But if you send me emails or you drop in Discord, whatever the fuck it is, like, I'll look at that stuff. But I'm going to be honest with you. Every single person, they found one message related to that online. Oh, okay. Every person that I've talked to that is a doomer or a conspiracy theorist, and they're quickly becoming the same person, gish gallops. They want to talk about how they know everything about COVID, they know everything about climate change, they know everything about DEI, they know everything about slavery, they know everything about government, they know everything about the economy, they know everything about war, they know everything about trains, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And what you end up doing is posting this block of text where you gish gallop through different things in the hopes that you can somehow wire it all together to make it look like there's this global conspiracy. I'm going to say this. This is a quote that I remember, if I remember right, it's the guy who wrote The Watchmen, Alan Moore, I think is his name. And he said this about conspiracy theorists. He said, the thing about conspiracy theory is you want to believe that there's a certain number of people that are in control of the world. But the really scary thing about the world is that it's rudderless and nobody is in control, because it is impossible to be in control. And that's true. Human beings, look at what we do with our yards. We go out, we mow the lawn, right? Like, we can't stand that the grass is getting too long. My wife yells at me all the time, you have to go weed eat. And I have this really funny way of looking at things. I go, that's nature. Why should I weed eat that? And it's like, because you're supposed to. What about fire danger? What about this? What about that? And what it comes down to is when human beings are in a place where they feel like they don't have control over a situation or a subject, or quite possibly what we're dealing with right now, people not believing that they don't have control over their own lives, which is fucking insane, because you are literally in control of your own life in America. We have the greatest out of anybody in this fucking world right now, and it hasn't gotten worse, guys. It hasn't. But we want to control things. And the only way to really be in control when you're not in control is to say that somebody else is, and all the things that are happening to you in your life aren't your fault, and you have no responsibility or accountability for that, because those people, they did this to me. It's not me, it's them. And that's a problem. I have a huge problem with that. Everything that has happened in my life, some of them have been influenced by outside forces, but I am ultimately responsible for who I am and what I believe. And at the end of the day, if I sit up here and I tell you guys something that's wrong, I have to be accountable for that. That's not within my control, but apologizing, correcting, and doing a better job for the future is within my control, and it's what I should do to be better. Okay, I'm going to watch the video now because I don't want you guys sitting here listening to me talk all day.
The greatest insurrection in the history of insurrections also happened to be the first unarmed insurrection in the history of the world, and yet they utilized that narrative over and over again.
You don't like
right?
music. I shouldn't call
wasn't
it
unarmed. I have to keep saying. Can't believe they keep going with that.
I'm gonna let you guys fight it out. Be nice to each other,
I don't want to spend a whole
bit
of time on this because I've gone through it so many times. It's really such a tired talking point. Oh, summer of 2020.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Side note, Joe Biden's America. Trump was president. But summer of 2020, that's why January 6th doesn't matter. And of course, any violence that took place, any breaking of the law that took place during the summer of 2020, accountability, baby. That's what Law and Order people actually think. Not this fake Law and Order thing that MAGA's doing that doesn't include Trump and some others. And that's the message of Biden.
Leave Manic alone.
That's the message of every mainstream Democrat ever, okay? They could also have a conversation about what was being called attention to by the peaceful protest, but the violence, any Law breaking, bad. Legal accountability. But y'all can't do that with January 6th, can you? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And equating riots with the president of the United States sicking a mob on the United States Capitol to try to block the certification of an election is whack. Plus, you all are celebrating those people now. Trump has the national anthem played, sung by January 6th, quote unquote, hostages, as he calls them. Insane.
Mm-hmm. Insane.
So bringing up summer 2020 proves that you have such a weak argument on this topic. Here's one more clip.
Other president, right or left, has ever faced to do, the basic duties of the duly elected president of the United States.
Hey, Don, Robert De Niro's fear, as well as the fear of the legacy media, is that if Trump gets another term, he will never leave office. He'll declare himself dictator for life. Is this just hyperbole? It seems to be outside of the Constitution. It seems to be absolutely unprecedented.
And I want to be clear about that is I don't believe that because I believe in our institutions. So, and I could be wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of people in my chat right now that are like, no, you're fucking wrong. And you could be right and I could be wrong because in 2016, I said that Donald Trump wouldn't do half the shit that Donald Trump did end up doing. And literally I sat there and talked to the accountant in my office and he would say, Donald Trump's going to do this. And I'd say, no, he's not. They're like, we have to have faith in our institutions. And he did a lot of the things that he didn't do some of the things and he did a lot of things. But I have a great faith in our institutions. I believe in that there's still enough sane American people to combat something like Donald Trump attempting to stay in office. I don't believe that it's going to be that horrific as like Robert De Niro. But do I believe that Donald Trump, if he saw a chance to do it, if he was given, if somebody in his council, we'll call him his council, if somebody within his council were to say, sir, it would make sense for you to stay for a third term, and I think the people would want that, I do think that Donald Trump would try to do something, but I have a lot of faith in institutions. I have a lot of faith in our government, and that's weird for me to say. For those of you like Florida that think you're just coming in here and I'm just some kind of liberal Joe Biden shill, for 30 years of my life, I lived just like you, dog. Everybody's corrupt. There's no hope for America as far as politicians go. I've always been very optimistic about America and its people, but for politicians, I believed all the things you guys believed. I did. And then as I've gotten older and I've had children and I've been more successful in my job, I've had more motivation to become better educated. I've had more motivation to involve myself more in political discussions, as you guys well know now. And the more that I've gotten into it, the more that I've applied logic and critical thinking to these things, the more that I've come to actually see the complicated cogs and mechanisms of the government as being a pretty well-defined and good system that oftentimes gets abused because of big money being involved in stuff like politics, prison systems, healthcare, education. And I have a problem with all those things. I do. I am not going to sit here and tell you that the government is some good faith, awesome, super optimistic machine. There's a lot that's wrong with it, but you don't fix... I think it was, who was it? Was it, it wasn't, God, I can't remember who it was. But it was somebody talking about being a socialist Democrat. And the way that you work to get things like Social Security, healthcare for all, socialist policies, is not to be a hardcore socialist. If you're really a progressive values kind of person, or a socialist values type of person, the best bet for you to actually get policies pushed through is to work within the system, because the system doesn't need to be burnt down. The system doesn't need to be dismantled and put back together in the way you want it to be. The system has a very good structure. It has great bones. But currently there's some things that are wrong with it, but we don't get to have those conversations about these things because everybody wants to make everything hyperbolic and bombastic, and everybody wants to have these fantastic conspiracies about these crazy things, and that takes away from the conversation that should be had. I keep saying this all the time to you guys, is that you guys, the conspiracy people, you guys have the right idea, but the wrong arguments. You want to talk about corrupt politicians, then we should talk about certain corrupt politicians. But when you lump in people that haven't done anything that has been proven as being corruption, we get taken away. We get sidetracked from people that we should be talking about. And that's why the whole thing with Donald Trump boggles my mind. Is you all say politicians are corrupt. You all say politicians do things that they should be held accountable for. And then when somebody holds a politician accountable for something, you're like, not that one. And that's fucking weird. Like, I don't see any of you standing up and saying Bob Menendez shouldn't be on trial right now. I don't see any of you standing up for any of the lower level politicians that are currently being investigated for misuse of campaign funds. Like, because those people, you're like, fuck yeah, they should be on trial. They're doing bad shit. And that's because Donald Trump broke you. He changed the way your brain works because he's a con man. I'm sorry, but that's the fucking truth.
With all due respect, your father is an older gentleman. It seems like...
no, I don't think you are.
You know how I know that wouldn't happen?
Go on.
It didn't happen the first time.
It didn't happen the first time.
I mean, it's not like, this time, he's going to do it this, but he didn't do it last time, but he's going to imagine it. It's so ridiculous, and there's powers that it would never happen anyway.
And I'm gonna be honest, that's a terrible argument from Don Jr. He's gonna do it this time, but he wasn't gonna do it last time. He literally tried to do that last time. Like, the only people you could convince that he wasn't trying to do it are people that can't read or don't choose to read. Because I've read all the indictments. Like I've said this a million times. I know you guys are tired of hearing me saying this. But I do have a video that I have produced the script for that I just haven't recorded on the fake electors. And the further and further you get into the fake elector scheme, the crazier and crazier it gets. Like, the people behind it that gave that information to Donald Trump to get him to use it is like, why the fuck would you ever listen to these bozos? It is mind-blowing, the types of people that Donald Trump is willing to take advice from. And it's one of the reasons that I actually believe that his defense, that he wasn't the main conspirator, that other people told him he should do this, is actually pretty solid. Because the dude is a fucking moron. He is not smart. And I am so tired of people acting like Donald Trump is intelligent. Like, once again, you can fucking like a person for being funny. You can like a person because they're charismatic. You can like them because you think they're a cult leader, and that's your cult. But god damn it, the dude is not smart. Fucking stop saying that. It's fucking mind-blowing.
I think we've seen...
What is it?
It's a
he
joke,
wants
Destin.
to, but he's not going to be able to.
Very clearly that, the powers of the presidency can be limited and can frankly be manipulated. They took what was the most...
Okay.
Dr. Seuss, good job, Dustin.
So, we go through this again. Sometimes,
Lady LaVon, appreciate you, LaVon.
I'll have people say, I feel like we've talked about blank numerous times. And so I just want to include, before diving into what I'm about to, if the lies are repetitive, the refuting of those lies has to be repetitive. But imagine that.
It's not hard to call anyone
It is
smart.
gaslighting, okay? I know people say the term's overused, but it's the perfect time to use it. Because it's looking at the American people, at least the ones who have their heads screwed on straight, and saying, I've never used that phrase in my life, and saying, you didn't see what you saw. You didn't hear what you heard. You didn't taste what you did. No, not taste.
Dude, and that's 1984. That is 1984. To a fucking T, that is 1984. And there's a lot of people that don't understand that George Orwell was a social democrat, too. Or democratic socialist. And they take that book out of context, and it's very, very well misunderstood. Now, I don't want you to confuse, because people out there constantly confuse socialism and communism, and there are obvious, links to how one can become the other, for sure. But socialism, in the term of a democratic socialism, is generally social safety nets. That's like the most basic way to explain it. So it's not like George Orwell was trying to become the next Stalin. He was literally, I think he even fought. Didn't he fight in that war? Yeah, I think he fought in that war in Italy, I want to say. That's how fucking crazy some of this stuff is. But that's 1984. The things you see aren't what you see. They're what we tell you you see. The things that you hear are not true unless we tell you they're true. You know, like that's a weird sort of manipulation. Like, I am completely open to all of you guys talking to me about stuff. I just want you guys to have better arguments. I get tired of arguing the same argument with the, you know, like I said, with the conspiracy folks. It's like you guys all think that you have this like unique perspective, but it's not unique anymore. There's a lot of people that have your perspective because they, for good reason, feel disenfranchised. Like Florida, I get what you're saying because I know your mentality. I know where you come from. I come from that. I grew up in a trailer park, so I felt disenfranchised. Poverty stricken for the majority of my life. I grew up in a very ghetto area. Like, there's a lot to be said, specifically when we want to talk about marginalized communities, minorities, where the left has failed, right? And I get why those people are upset with the left. And I wish that I had an ability to do something about those things, but ain't nobody gonna fucking listen to me. But you hear what I'm saying? Like I get it. I get why you have that. But I want you guys, if you're gonna at least be in my channel, I want you to see that I use my mind, so that way you learn to use yours. So you don't have to have all this emotional appeal. Like, you have a really good world around you. It's a beautiful place to live in America, regardless of its flaws and its imperfections. We've worked harder and harder towards getting equal rights for all people, and all people deserve equal rights, but we're not there yet. We got a long way to go, but it is a beautiful place to be, and you should always keep that in mind. And don't let yourself get completely disenfranchised from the communities that you exist in. You know, so like, I just think you guys have to have better arguments, and I wish that people, that if you're in my channel and you want to discuss these things, then you're already putting forth the effort to want to be more educated, or want to talk about politics at least. Then you should put in the effort to have better arguments.
And
what up, Mitchell?
What I'm talking about is Trump tried to stay in office. That's what he's being prosecuted for now. You can't try to do something, fail at it, then point to the fact that people are concerned that you might try to do that again and say it's crazy to believe that just because you failed last
government
time.
Systems
but
is
you
just
could
because
try
they're
again
labeled as
and
such
be successful
doesn't mean
this
they
time.
are as such.
Trump's fraudulent slate of electors that now a bunch of his allies are being prosecuted for, that, if it would have been successful, would have blocked the peaceful transfer of power, kept Trump in office beyond his term.
We have lots of
so while I don't think it's the first thing you should bring up in a conversation, because there are other more concrete, evidence-based, record-based things you can bring up to prove that Trump's unfit for office, it's not at all ridiculous to think, would he try again to prevent himself from leaving office after the end of his constitutionally laid out term? Perfectly reasonable concern, as shown by him trying to block the peaceful transfer of power last time. And Donald Trump Jr. is aware of that. Saying. And Donald Trump Jr. doesn't think his audience is smart enough
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
to understand how ridiculous he's being. So my message to them is prove that you are and get out of that cult. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. Pretty wacky stuff. And if you want to get the daily bonus show where I talk about more stories on this members only show, you can do so by clicking the join button below.
That's obviously, a lot of you guys know who Luke Beasley is, so I'm not gonna have to link it for you or whatever. But obviously, Luke Beasley, a good kid, and I've said this before about the youth, is that we have forever told the youth that they need to get involved. We have complained forever that young people don't care. We've complained forever that young people don't want to vote. And people like Luke Beasley, people like Adam Mockler have been getting involved and speaking what they believe is their truth and really doing a great fucking job, and you guys should support them. Good people support good people. And you know, the crazy thing about that is that I have to say that I have to say that you should do that, because I think what happens in our society is that we see intelligent people, we see good people doing good things, and we think, oh, good for you. That's great. And then we move on, and we forget that we need to support them. We forget that people like Luke Beasley do need a pat on the back. People like Luke Beasley need you in their comment section saying, hey, man, good fucking job. I appreciate you. That's awesome. They need you to hit the like button. hit the like button. And subscribe to their channel and continue to support them. Because I think it's like Dunning-Kruger, right? It's like intelligent people don't really speak loudly because they're afraid of what they're wrong about. Whereas people that are not very intelligent, they're not smart enough to know what they don't know. And therefore, they speak very loudly and with confidence about the things they believe. The same thing goes for good people. We look at them and we're like, well, they're good people. That's just who they are. They just do good things. But don't forget to support people like Luke Beasley. He's a good dude. Let's see. There's a couple different ones here that I wanted to watch. Let's see. The Dr. Phil thing. I don't know the Dr. Phil thing except for the weird quote that he had about Trump being thick-skinned and not needing people's approval, which is like, once again, I cannot bring myself to understand or wrap my mind around why you would choose that to say. There is so much wrong with that statement. Like, verifiably, I could show you video after video after video of Donald Trump having thin skin and being affected by either the adoration or lack of adoration from his crowd. We just saw that libertarian video the other day where he stood up there and tried to convince the libertarians to vote for him, and he literally was like, okay, well, fuck you guys then. 3% is all you're gonna ever get. Haha. Own, bitches. Okay, it wasn't literally what he said.
Dr. Phil is unapologetically diving headfirst into the MAGA grift. Watch this clip of him on CNN.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Dr.
You don't.
Phil,
I don't doubt it.
Get too deep
That's
into
crazy.
the law here, but it is not uncommon at all for people who are accomplices to crimes, people who have taken plea deals, non-prosecuted. That is not uncommon at all for those people to then testify in subsequent trials for their alleged co-conspirators. That's kind of how.
Yeah. Wait, what? Is that the argument? Hold on, I need to go back. I need to restart. This is what I'm saying. There's no way that he doesn't believe that that's true. You fucking know. No way.
Dr. Phil is unapologetically diving headfirst into the MAGA grift. Watch this clip of him on CNN.
Well, yeah. Dr. Phil, I don't want to get too deep into the law here, but it is not uncommon at all for people who are accomplices to crimes, people who have taken plea deals, non-prosecuted. That is not uncommon at all for those people to then testify in subsequent trials for their alleged co-conspirators. That's kind of how a lot of these prosecutions work.
Well, really, give me examples of where that has been considered appropriate.
I mean, look, prosecutors are prosecuting organized crime all the time, and in a lot of those cases, they are relying on.
Once again, that's a weird question. Do you want me to like fucking bring in what Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, like what the Nixon administration? Like, it's something that is like happening throughout the United States, probably at all times. This is why I need somebody with a law degree. I need somebody to explain this to me like an idiot, because as far as I understand it, that's the type of fucking thing that happens all the time in lots of fucking trials.
On co-conspirators.
Like, I can't think of a celebrity trial.
People who are at the higher levels of the organization behind bars. I don't understand how you can say that because someone
he
signed
must be for sale. But you would think
does he have debts? Signed a non-prosecution agreement.
That
information or their testimony cannot be presented
name,
before the jury if they were a part of the alleged scheme.
Well, you'll have to give me an example to respond to, because I just simply don't agree with that. I think it's not typical for juries to do this. I've spent most of my career.
It happens in mob cases all the time. I don't understand. Look.
I'll take Dr. Fauci over Dr. Phil any day. I just want to say that Abby Phillips is completely right here. It is totally normal in both state and federal cases for accomplices to crimes to testify in a trial when somebody that they worked with is going down. And this case was no different. But Dr. Phil...
Yeah, what the fuck? Once again, I feel like I'm going crazy. What do you mean that accomplices and other people being charged wouldn't testify against him? Like, literally, that's what's happening in the Georgia cases with Chesbro. Well, they're not currently testifying against him. They have the right to call them to testify in the trial.
but Powell, Chesbro, Ellis, just in that trial alone, like, this is, like, how does Dr. Phil think in a mafia situation that they get the main dude? How does he picture that going? That they're gonna figure all of this out through investigative methods? That they don't have any insiders? There's nobody that has flipped within the organization? Has Dr. Phil never watched a mob movie before? That is, I feel like I'm going crazy, man.
Phil has become a full-throated MAGA sycophant. Last night he did an interview with Donald Trump that I covered, but I want to break down some pieces that people haven't really been talking about. This clip right here is beyond parody.
I know you got a thick skin. You're not one of those people that's afflicted with the need to be loved by strangers. I get that.
That's true.
My question is...
I think Donald Trump actually didn't agree with that. Even Donald Trump's ego is so big that he almost couldn't let that go. Yeah, I think that's true. That's the weirdest thing to say. Like, that's some sycophant kind of shit. That's like, sir, can I jerk you off? Sir, can I get one finger in your beehole? Sir, can I rub against your leg while you talk? Like, that's such a weird thing to say. That's verifiably untrue. You can just, like, click any fucking video.
Parody.
I know you got a thick skin. You're not
one
of those people that's afflicted with the need to be loved by strangers. I get that.
I think that's true.
My question...
I think that's true. No, I'm wrong. He let that. He was like, yeah. No, that's me. Actually, I'm wrong about that. I'm wrong. Oh, man. Fuck. It is. It was when he wore the leather jacket on Rogan. That was the last time he was sane. Well, no, not that time. Before that. It was the last time he went on Rogan, way long time ago, pre-COVID. I'm telling you, COVID broke people, dude. There are certain people, it doesn't matter, like, who you were before COVID. Like, there's a lot of people. I even said it, like, so for me, going into COVID, like, I manage a store, so I had to be pretty physical with people in, like, sometimes removing them. A lot of times I didn't have to be physical, but I had to, like, be imposing with them to get them to leave my store and leave my employees and stuff alone. And to do that, I had to kind of, like, I had to kind of go back in the day and be a person that for a long time my wife had taught me not to be. And it was weird for me because I got into this mode of being the angry ginger, of being the person that's like, I don't take your shit. You don't get in my face. If you want to get in a physical fight in the parking lot, we can handle this, and that's not good. I'm not saying any of those things are good things for people to believe or to say. I'm just saying that, like, during that time, it became necessary for me to become that person in my store because of the way that people were acting coming in, and it worked. My employees were able to be healthy, to stay as mentally healthy as possible. The store was successful. We ended up not having as many problems. But as we came out of COVID, I have anger issues, and I've worked really hard on those anger issues. And then for that little period of time, it was acceptable for me to be angry, and people even applauded me and motivated me to be more aggressive because it was helpful. And when I came out of that, it just recently, probably over the last year, I've really, like, finally, like, calmed down and, like, come back to, like, the reality of, like, being a little bit of a better person and remembering that I got away from being that person for a reason. And I had to come to terms with that like, that was a part of me that potentially could be bad for me moving forward. And I think a lot of people, like, it changed their whole mentality and they didn't survive it. And I don't think that at this point that they've recovered. I think that they're still mentally pretty effed up from all this stuff, and maybe Dr. Phil is.
The question is not how do you do it. My question is why do you do it?
I'm almost to it.
Why do you? Let's face it. I mean,
bulk products,
you're a billionaire.
Bulk
you got
products.
A great family. You're a very dedicated father. People may not see this in you a lot because you keep that kind of private. But my question to you is why do you subject? Why do you do it? Why? You're not one of those people that's afflicted with the need to be loved.
This is a whole lot of what?
I get that.
I think that's true.
My question is not how do you do it. My question is why do you do it? Why do you, let's face it, I mean, you're a billionaire.
Donald Trump looks like he's been beat up. Like, look at this dude. Holy shit. You know what he kind of looks like? Nick Nolte. Or is it Gary Busey? I always get Gary Busey and Nick Nolte mixed up.
Why do you, let's face it, I mean, you're a billionaire, you got a great family, you're a very dedicated father. People may not see this in you a lot because you keep that kind of private, but my question
that's true.
to you,
He doesn't talk about being a good father very often. He's right. He's too busy talking about all the other dumb shit that he does. He's right about that.
Why do you subject yourself to this?
He's a very dedicated father who doesn't even know his son's age and struggles to make an appearance in his son's life. He has an amazing family who...
Hold on. I got to defend Trump for like half a second. All right? So don't fucking unsubscribe. But this is some straight parent shit, all right? I remember my kids' ages, but if you ask me what age they are, like right now, I have it at the top of my head, I can fucking tell you, okay? But if you just threw that out at me during like my normal work day, I'd be like, okay, Logan was born when I was, okay? And Molly is 3, okay. Minor defending the Trump moment, okay? Remembering your kids' ages sometimes is a little bit difficult. Although I don't know the clip in question.
Amazing family who basically all failed to show up to his criminal trial. His amazing wife didn't show up a single time. He's a billionaire who fails to pay his taxes, then in the next breath will say that he's just like you and I. He's just a common man in America. He acts like he's anti-establishment when he is the establishment.
Before you go, in the interview, there was a moment at which you said the argument that President Biden can't stop.
Also, what is this? What is this? I'm telling you, I don't know, guys. I'm becoming a conspiracy person right now. I am going down the rabbit hole because none of these people look like humans, allegedly. We had Steve Bannon, which looked like his liver was on the outside of his shirt. Donald Trump looks like he might be Nick Nolte now. This is just like maniacal. This shit right here, it doesn't look real. Rudy Giuliani doesn't look real. I don't know what the fuck to say.
The Trump prosecution in Georgia because it's a state case. You called that an explanation for stupid people. But it is also true that the President of the United States cannot interfere with the state prosecution.
We don't talk
how
about
the legal system
we don't
works.
need to talk about that.
Why is
Gary
that a
Busey?
position
Is it Gary
that you're
Busey? I'm always
repeating,
fucking
even
up
though
Nick
it's
Nolte
very
and Gary
clear that
Busey.
That's not the case.
I don't know why I mix those two up, but I do.
That is not the case in terms of
Mega
strict
Gaga.
law, but I think if anybody believes that
he just blinked.
parties
Mitchell.
on either side can't get together and get something done if they want it done, I think is very naive. That's not the way things work.
That's exactly the kind of coordination that frankly, Dr. Phil, there is no evidence of, but you're also saying if that coordination happened, for example, in the hush money case, you would have called that a scandal. So why would President Biden do that in Georgia? Interfere with a state case that he has nothing to do with?
I didn't say that about Georgia. Actually, I said that about the case in New York. So you're wrong about that.
My apologies, but in the case in New York specifically, I mean, if Biden weighed in to make that prosecution happen, you would consider that a scandal. If he weighed in to make it not happen, why would that not be a scandal?
I'm not saying it wouldn't be a scandal, but I'm saying if you really think that party politics don't cross state lines, federal versus state lines, that there aren't meetings and people talk about this and make decisions about what's best for the party.
Wait, how does Dr. Phil know these things? This is my problem with the conspiracy stuff. You are attempting to insinuate that you have information that you're privy to that everybody else isn't, and they should just know that it's true because it's common sense that this would be true. It's not common sense. It's not 100%. This is a verified truth. These are the types of things that conspiracy people do that it drives me a wall because it's like,
We operate in this society based off of things that can be proven, facts and evidence. They have to be proven to a certain percentage for them to be believable. And this is, once again, I keep saying this, it pisses me off because we used to be able to like have like fun conversations. We used to be able to joke. We used to be able to talk about whether or not we thought people were pieces of shit. And it was all in good fun. And now it has become this mainstream thing to be a contrarian, to be part of the this is what's going on. They did it. They're in control. And it really has taken away from conversations in which were kind of fun in the past. Talking about whether or not the aliens built the goddamn pyramids back in the day used to be fun. You'd be like, I don't know, maybe they did. Who knows? Anunnaki? Fuck, that's a cool word. And you go watch History Channel for a little bit, and it'd be a good time. You get high as fuck, and then you just go on about your life. But now, like, these theories have taken over these people's lives to the point that if you bring up any one of these subjects just in like kind of a humorous or offhanded way, they're like, what, you don't think that's true? Wait, do you not believe that that's true? Oh my God, dude, let me show you that that's true. And it's like, Jesus, you just take all the fucking fun out of life.
Don't cross state lines, federal versus state lines, that there aren't meetings and people talk about this and make decisions about what's best for the party. And sometimes that's probably works to the good of the people. Sometimes
Obama
maybe it doesn't.
Killed civilians at weddings.
But if
Are you talking
think
about
that there aren't
dog?
Politics that goes
Jesus
into
Christ, imagine
some
if you
of
could
these
make
decisions,
that argument
I think
without
that would be
sounding
a
like
naive
moron.
position.
Trump
Well,
2024.
look, all I'm saying
I waited
is that
5
there's no
minutes to
evidence
say
that
dumb
that
shit.
happened one way or another. Well, we agree on that point. Dr. Phil.
Okay, first of all, is Dr. Phil advocating for politicians or President Biden to interfere with state courts? Secondly, remember, Dr. Phil is barely a doctor.
But you only know that
he's
one
definitely
story.
not a
That's your
lawyer.
thing.
Abby
That's the
Phillips
thing you've
rolled
been
him throughout this entire interview.
in love with
Watch
for
this
like
clip
fucking
of Donald
probably
Trump
the last
talking
4
to
years
Sean
of your
Hannity.
life.
Of hatred for me is incredible, but all I'm trying to do is lay out the facts. Lay out the facts. We have to have somebody that's sharp
It used
and
to be
strong,
cool,
and
Mitchell.
Viktor Orban.
It used to be a fun thing to talk about.
I guess they call him a strong man. Oh, Trump likes. I don't like strong men or hate strong men. He's leading a country. He's a strong leader. He's the prime minister of
Putin
Hungary.
is a
he said
dictator.
the only way we're going to solve the problems of the world, you got to bring Trump back. China was afraid of him. Russia was afraid of him.
Nobody
Look, I
was
lived at the
afraid of
Russian
Trump,
pipeline,
dog.
Nord Stream 2. Before I came in, even you,
Oh.
nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. I said they're building Nord Stream.
People always say, what was China doing? What was Russia doing? First of all, Russia was already in a conflict with Ukraine before Trump left office. 2017, 2018, and I believe 2019. I could be wrong about 2019. But yeah, that shit was already happening. It's just through proxy. It's just through fucking mercenaries and stuff. But anyways, people always say, no one was doing anything when Trump was in office, bro. What's going on with Biden now? Napoleon has a really awesome fucking quote, and it's an amazing quote, and it's never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And America made a mistake, and the rest of the world that we're competing against was like, not going to interrupt this shit. Looks amazing. So, yeah. Fucking Napoleon called that
Everyone
shit.
said, what is that? It's the biggest pipeline in the world going to Germany. So
Once again, we hear Donald Trump praising the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, who effectively ended the liberal democracy in his own country,
what's up, R's wife?
and who the Heritage
think I saw
Foundation modeled the Project 2025 plan after. The Center for American Progress says, since assuming power in 2010, Viktor Orban and his party have systematically dismantled the pillars of liberal democracy in Hungary, steering the nation toward what Orban himself proudly labels as an illiberal state. And Donald Trump wants to do something very similar in the U.S. Project 2025 is a plan to appoint tens of thousands of loyal and vetted civil servants into positions of power, strip different agencies of their independence, and basically consolidate power within the executive branch so Donald Trump can end our liberal democracy and have more power than any other president has ever had. And they're all modeling it off of who Donald Trump was just praising, Viktor Orban. And Donald Trump Trump likes to misinterpret
Don't
this word
forget to like and
strongman.
subscribe.
I don't know if it's on purpose, but when someone says someone's a strongman in politics, that generally means they're an authoritarian leader who shows power through military control, shows hard power. And Donald Trump literally thinks it means a strong man. He's like, I don't like strong men, I like weak men sometimes. He does not know what these words mean. I still find it wild that people in the realm of politics still take Donald Trump's ideas seriously. I mean, he had no experience in politics throughout his entire life. He came in with these simplistic goals, these simplistic answers to very complex questions. He talks like a snake oil salesman all of the time. When
he talks just like his supporters. I keep saying this over and over again, and I keep saying this. Maybe I should stop saying that. I keep saying it. Oh, it's becoming a fucking tick. Every time that Trump supporters would say he's just like us, I would say, no, he isn't. What is wrong with you? He's a billionaire. This dude doesn't know what a blue collar life looks like. But I think I got that wrong. I think he is just like Trump supporters. He doesn't have answers to complex questions. He doesn't understand what nuance is in conversation. He doesn't understand how complicated something like government or healthcare or warfare or the economy is. He's just like Trump supporters. He answers everything with hyperbolic statements. He answers everything with bombastic language. He looks at people that are just like the worst fucking people in the world and goes, that's a good person. These are all things that are just like MAGA. So let me correct myself. I am wrong. These people have been telling us forever that he is just like them, and he is just like them.
There is a very complex problem at the border. He has the idea that like a 3-year-old would have, just build a wall at the border. That is literally what my 5-year-old cousin would say.
Hold on, we gotta make an example. And life, I hate to do this to you because at the end of the day, probably nobody told you the rules, but I'm gonna tell you the rules anyways. We don't talk about people hurting children, and it's weird that you guys always want to talk about people hurting children, and I feel like it's projection. I don't know you. I don't know what the fuck, like why you always have to go there, but you're desensitizing people to the fact. You're using pedo as an insult, just like you claim the left uses racist as an insult and desensitizes people to the use of those words. If you have some type of evidence that somebody has harmed a child, you should take that shit to the police. You don't come in my chat and say a bunch of fucking shit that you can't prove. And don't desensitize people to children being harmed. And that's all I'm going to say. And, hey, you have a good day, okay? Yeah, the small-minded guys. The small-minded people aren't the ones saying shit about children being harmed. Bye, bud. Okay, moving on. It's always the same with these people. It's always the same here. And since he's just hidden from chat, let's make him watch this trans person video. He's gonna love this shit. All right, I don't know who this person is. As always, if we're watching something and it hits me with a hey, you're watching something you're not allowed to, I'll have to turn it off. But for now, we are going to continue to watch it and see this, because this looks like it would be very interesting. A trans person interviewing homophobes at Pride 2024, which also you got to ask yourself, why are they at Pride 2024? But I'm sure we'll get that answer here in a second. So let's watch this video and check it out, and let's see what we can pull from this
mutual
video.
Aid, acceptance, tolerance, and love. And
okay, dead domain.
It's that time of year again where queer people get together to celebrate community, mutual aid, acceptance, tolerance,
there's a hidden
and love.
chat
And people get super mad at those things and call us slurs while waving
YouTube
big
just
signs.
puts them into a,
On June 1st,
like,
I went with my partner to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to celebrate their Pride event. For those who might not remember, this park and Pride was the very same that saw 31 white nationalists arrested just 2 years ago. Idaho isn't known as the most progressive place overall, and that was represented by a few anti-gay protesters sitting on the sidelines at this Pride event. And being the curious creature I am, I decided to go see why they specifically felt that Pride was worth protesting. It probably won't surprise you to know I was met with a barrage of slurs and blatantly false information.
You know, I love what Steve Hofstetter said in that comedy stand-up where that lady was asking him about certain things. And he said, being tolerant doesn't mean I have to be tolerant of your intolerance. And I was like, damn, that is very well put. And so I've had people argue with me that when I say that specific religions or religious people, not religions as a whole, but religious people choose to be homophobic, to be transphobic, to hate people for who they love and how they live their life, like I'm intolerant of their beliefs. And I go, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but it's not for me to be tolerant of other people being intolerant of a person's way of life. You can say, I don't believe people should be homosexual or whatever you want to say, or transsexual or whatever. But if you are attempting to influence their lives in a way that makes their lives more negative, I'm not going to be tolerant of that. I'm not going to stand here or sit here and say that's acceptable. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. But if you're trying to put things through legislation, or you're going to stand there with a giant sign that tells these people that they're going to hell and all this other shit, then I'm going to speak up because that's my right to do so, and I feel that it's the right thing to do. And when people say, well, you're being intolerant against them being intolerant, it is what it is, dog.
I've debunked in past videos like my church infiltration and CPAC videos.
Fellow Ginger.
As I approached the first protest group, I did my best to put on a friendly face. A woman sitting to the left of the group leader hurriedly took out her phone to record me.
Would I be able to interview you guys?
Yeah. Interview for?
I have a YouTube channel. I just kind of want to see what you guys are about, what you guys are doing out here, if that's okay.
You're going to go to hell. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
The main man I spoke to here is Glenn
And this is what I'm talking about. What this person says right here.
See what you guys are about, what you guys are doing out here, if that's okay.
Okay. This dude, as he's walking away, says, you're going to go to hell if you don't repent. First of all, bet this guy's closeted, okay? Because this is all self-hate, man. You know one of the reasons that I don't care whether or not people are gay or trans or any of those things? Because I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I don't really care what people do. It's just not my concern. I just want people to be happy. And, I don't self-hate. There's not like this voice in my head that's like, but what if you're gay? Actually, there is every once in a while a voice in my head that's like, what if you're gay? Every once in a while I'm like, that's kind of gay. Yeah, it might be a little bit, actually. But that's what I'm saying is I don't care. If I was, it wouldn't fucking, why would I care? And these people, I believe, it's just like the priest that touched children. We were just talking about this and not desensitizing it. That's something that actually happens that people should care about, that doesn't get enough coverage. But those people, they sexually repress themselves, and then what they do is behind the scenes they do things to other people because they're repressing these natural human emotions to want to be with another grown-ass adult specifically. Okay, and instead they suppress those things and they make themselves feel bad because they believe that this person's watching them and judging everything they do. Once again, we can go into the fact that it's really weird that Jesus is watching a bunch of dudes jerk off, and that's kind of gay. But I digress. It's a lot of self-hate. It's a lot of worry about what if I see a dude's butt and I get a rock hard guy going on. And it's like, well, then you're kind of gay. It's all right. Fucking accept that shit and start dating dudes. Fucking, you'll be a lot fucking happier in your life, man. Like, fucking let it go. And instead what they do, they tell this person who literally hasn't even said fucking anything. They just walked up and asked if they could interview them about their beliefs. And this person immediately goes to, you're going to hell if you don't repent. That is a state of negative mental health that dude right there is in that no person should be okay with existing in. Like, when you go to that level of hate, I don't even get this mad when I see MAGA supporters. Like, if I met a MAGA supporter, a person that I completely disagree on almost every value and policy, well, not everyone, some of them, they have some okay ones. A broken clock gets shit right twice a day. I wouldn't fucking be like, fuck you, scum, go to hell. Well, probably not until at least halfway through the conversation, right? What a crazy way to start this.
Okay. The main man I spoke to here is Glenn Bledsoe, a longtime street preacher. While he claimed he isn't with any church or body, this video retrospective where he talks about another street preacher who passed away labels him as from Bible Believers. There are a lot of churches with that name, but from what I found, almost all appear to have been King James Version Baptist types that we've become familiar with in the past.
So I guess tell me kind of what organization you're with, or if you're with an organization or church or anything.
I'm just a street preacher that started preaching in the early 80s against sin, whether it be the bars down the street, wherever it may be, or the gay parades in West Hollywood or San Francisco.
So have you ever successfully converted someone then?
Well, we've done some persuading, I think.
Yeah. Me too, dude. Yeah, I've totally converted a bunch of Trump supporters. Yeah, me too. Sure, buddy. Oh, fuck. If I converted you from being a Trump supporter, you probably weren't a Trump supporter.
It's amazing the impact preaching the gospel is out on the streets.
So then, what is, I guess, the issue that you have with pride?
The Bible says that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So when we are in sin, whatever...
What a weird twisting of words. God... So she asked him, the Bible says that... Oh, okay. She asked him what specifically they had against pride. And he returned with, the Bible says that God opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. But this isn't humble. There's nothing humble about this. Like, the humble would be, as in Dunning-Kruger, the people that don't need others to think that they are a certain type of person. They are humble. They are confident. They know that they don't need to tell others. You know, it's like being a manager. If you have to tell people you're the manager, then you're not the manager.
Proud. Grace to the humble. So when we
What's happening, David?
Sin, whatever.
Sorry if I didn't see you earlier.
We shouldn't be proud of it. We shouldn't be parading it. We shouldn't be, in trying to entice others to join you in your pride of sin.
That's such a weird thing to say. It's like we do that in so much of our culture in like every single way. Like, fuck, I want you guys all to start fucking being Eagles fans. Come on, get behind my team. It's really weird to see people say that like these children are being like groomed and stuff. It's like, then everything is grooming. Then any parade is grooming. Then, nationalism is grooming. Like the reality is that children being around things is good for them because then they question things. Like one of the problems with people that aren't, that are in the closet and then hate gay people, it's because they haven't been around the things. They haven't felt like they're comfortable being able to say the things that they believe. They don't feel like they're comfortable enough to express themselves, who they are, and they become hateful people and they take it out. I had this conversation with this guy online where I was talking about Jesus being a nice person and how they used to have me, where they would just like get me on the Jesus being a nice person thing. And he said Jesus wasn't a nice person. We ended up going through back and forth through just, quoting Bible and all this bullshit to get to the end of it, in which he was denouncing gay people for being gay. And I said, I think Jesus would be totally okay with people being gay as long as they were happy and they were treating people well. And he said, no, I know that Jesus, he goes, no, that's their choice to be gay. And I said, it's not a choice. People are born who they are, and they love who they do. It's not a choice. It's who you are as a person. Some people like feet. I think it's disgusting. Okay, you walk on those motherfuckers. You wear dirty socks on those motherfuckers. But some dudes suck toes. Okay, do I think it's weird? Fuck yeah, I think it's weird. Do I care? No, don't care at all. It's on them. Suck toes, bro. Hope you find you a girl or a guy that likes their toes sucked. You guys are gonna be perfectly fine together. But I said to him, I go, it's not a choice. It's who they are as a person. And he said, no, I know that it's a choice because I'm gay and I choose not to have homosexual sex. In fact, I choose not to have any sex because I'm not attracted to women. I'm just, don't clip all that shit. God. And you guys can clip it. It'd be fucking hilarious to see me saying those things. And I was like, oh my God, dude. This is why you're so hateful. This is why you are who you are. Is because you have oppressed yourself so much that now you take this out online on other people. I go, man, I'm sorry, and that sucks. And I was like, I'm actually going to ban you from my community because you're just not healthy. You're not a healthy person. I'm like, I hope you get help. I hope you find like who you are as a person and find people around you that will allow you to express yourself in the right way. So saying that like children, being around this kind of stuff, I do not believe that children should go to Nicki Minaj concerts. I do not believe that children should be going to anything that's sexual, whether it is homosexual in nature or it's heterosexual in nature. I will stand on those values that I do not believe that things like that, but I also believe that when people make these claims that children are being taken to these sexualized things, they're completely over-exaggerated, they're completely overblown. They're generally people dancing, and I'm like, okay, have you ever seen a fucking people dance? It's all kind of sexual. Anyways, let's get back to what they're saying here.
When we are in sin, whatever sin it may be, we shouldn't be...
Elbow guy!
We shouldn't be...
Elbow dudes? I don't know, I could probably see that.
Yeah, in trying to entice...
Yeah, he doesn't have any options for sex.
You, in your pride sin. First
is that what it is? Leviticus?
This is a threat to public safety.
Okay.
So
ours, I'm glad that you're one of the good ones.
Why would you say it's a threat to public safety?
Yeah,
Children don't need to see
Kenneth?
that.
You need
This is
hospitals.
public. Children don't need to see that.
How many booths?
This was the exact Pride event
Yeah.
to which she was gesturing.
Wait,
I didn't see anything offensive.
Wait, yes. I've seen medieval fucking fairs that look more sexual than this. And I would take my kids to a medieval fair, by the way. Hell yeah, brother. And each one of them would get a sword. I'd bring my swords on screen, but I can't right now. They're all over the place, but I'm not close to them. And this is what I'm saying. So a lot of times the right points out things like people that are provocatively dressed as being, not safe for children to be around. But the honest answer to that is that there's lots of people that dress provocatively in society, whether they're heterosexual or homosexual or otherwise. And yeah, those people probably are also against those people doing it. But, to me, that's a sickness. Like, I don't look at people as dressing provocatively as being a harm to my children. Now, obviously, if somebody is swinging their schlong around in public, I'm like, hey, bro, this isn't the spot for that. There's a club or two, It doesn't matter whether you're gay or not gay. If you're swinging your schlong around, I'm probably going to be like, hey, schlong swingers go over there. This isn't where we do that. Fuck. Anyways, I don't see that very often. And since I'm not gay, it's probably a good thing. But, like that, this overblown idea that because there's provocatively dressed, gay people that, like, that's weird compared to provocatively dressed heterosexual people. That's so weird.
To children the entire time I was there, unless she simply
What's up, Jeannie?
means a drag queen, not even scantily clad,
Renaissance
is
fairs are
inappropriate
pretty
for kids.
dope, not
in which
gonna
case
lie.
she'd have conniptions if she watched classic Shakespeare or other classic art
What up,
involving
Frosty?
drag like Mrs. Doubtfire or All Stars Season 2.
Well, that's how you
You're
come into
more
this shit.
suicidal. You have more disease than any other people.
Suicide rates are
Very suicidal.
It's insane.
You're unhappy.
Especially the trans.
I can only imagine what's going through her head right here. She's like, yeah, I wonder why we're suicidal. I wonder if it has anything to do with society quite possibly saying shit like we're going to go to hell, that we're terrible fucking people, that we harm children. I don't know. Does that have anything to do possibly with that? Oh, Jesus
Forsaking
Christ.
God and the way God, you hate God.
Oh, fuck.
and
Shoot
the
for
pride
Jesus.
that
It's
you may
Pride
have.
Month, motherfucker.
Well, some might say that a lot of that suicidal ideation is from social rejection.
Thanks for the $2 though, Frosty.
Unsurprisingly, they didn't cite many actual
Also,
statistics.
Jesus would love
and when I pushed back on
homosexuals,
the
dude.
idea that queer suicide rates are so high because of people like them, they basically said, I would think that because
Yeah, at
I'm
least
a
you can
slur."
talk about it now. You don't. At least you can
Look
talk
how
about
pussy
it.
you guys are. Look all the police protection you have. Look how much you influence society.
Bruh. I love when people like this talk about physical violence. I love when people, right? Like, am I wrong about that? Did he say how squishy you are? Pushy. Oh, okay. No, because look how pushy you guys are. It's a spiritual sickness. Look at all the police protection you have. I was gonna say, if this dude's talking about physical violence, he should drop that shit quick. It's a spiritual sickness. Like, this is my problem with religion. Institutionalized religion drives me nuts because of the fact that I don't have any problem with you being religious. That does not concern me. That is your life to live. Like I said, you can think homosexuality is a sin. It's when you push that on other people. And when this guy says you're being pushy, literally this guy is pushing his beliefs on this person. That's insane and extremely hypocritical. At the end of the day, if you want to be religious, 100% be religious. I'm good with that. I like that. You know, just be Christ-like. Just be a nice person. Be a good person. Like, I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you worship the flying spaghetti monster. Just be a good person. That's all it comes down to. Lead by example. And try not to legislate morality. You know, that's the end game of it all, is to have your beliefs, live the way you want to, but not do things like legislating morality. And this just drives me nuts.
Look how pushy you guys are.
Oh, thanks, John.
Protection you have.
It's at, and then put in PRO, and my name will pop up. At PRO. He would not hate gay people, Frosty. That's the new Republican Jesus, not the old Jesus, nor not the old Jesus.
You are pushing your religion of hatred towards God and what he did in creating you a man.
So once again, that's just incorrect, because there are transgender people that choose to be religious. It's crazy to say to a person that they hate God because of who they are. God created these people, if you're religious, right? If you believe God created these people, that God created them, why would God do that? Why would God create these people to then have them shamed and hated and pushed around by these people? That doesn't make any sense. And we can watch the clip of Joe Rogan asking Matt Walsh this. Joe Rogan said, well, hold on, if you think God created all people, then God created gay people, and that means that God created gay people in the manner that he did, which would be gay. Therefore, this is a conflict of interests. Okay, all you guys are doing good. Okay, like, now I see everybody adding me. He would love people who suffer from gender dysphoria as well, but he would also know that it's a sin to cut up your body. It's not a sin to... Dude, Jesus Christ. So do you believe it's a sin to have tattoos? Do you believe it's a sin to have piercings? And not all transgender people transition through surgery either. And even if they do, that's their fucking choice. It's their body. I don't understand your guys' obsession with other people's bodies. Like, why do you guys care so much about what people are doing in their bedroom? Why do you guys care so much about how, like, a motherfucker could literally cut off their leg and I'd be like, that's the dumbest shit I ever seen. But hey, that's all you, dog. I would literally just be like, fuck, I guess people are cutting off their legs now. Ain't my shit. I don't fucking care. You could literally have sex with trees, and I wouldn't fucking care. You could drill a hole in a tree as long as you did that shit in your own room. You'd have to bring the tree to your house, put it in your room, drill the hole. You can drill the hole where the fuck you want. You can do that outside. But you could have sex with a fucking inanimate object. I don't fucking care. That's weird to me. That is so weird. Okay, let me ask you this, Rossi. So let's have a hypothetical situation. I am what I believe to be a good person. I feel I've lived a good life, but I have a tattoo, okay? And let's say this tattoo is in memoriam of my mom dying of cancer. My mom dies of breast cancer, and I get a tattoo on my body that says, I love you, Mom. It's got God, it's got Jesus in the middle, like a big Jesus with the crown of thorns, all that stuff. And then I'm in line. I'm up there. I'm like behind Jon Stewart. Because me and Jon Stewart are going to go at the same time.
Maybe Bill Burr's behind me because all of the greats are going to go at the same time. It's going to be the rapture. That's what's happening, the rapture. So we're all in line. And Jon Stewart gets let in, and he gets kicked out like almost immediately. Bill Burr denied at the gates, not allowed in. And then I get up there, and I'm like, hey, man, I feel like I've lived a pretty good life. God's like, yeah, you have. I'm like, yeah, I've done some things wrong. It's like, yeah, you have. And I go, cool, so I get to go in? He goes, nah, you got that tattoo of your mom dying of cancer. Sorry, dog. You don't get to get in. That's fucking weird. That's weird. Frosty, come on. That makes no fucking sense. Why would God be like, dude, you got a nose ring? Why the fuck would he care? Or they care? Because God is non-gender specific, right? Actually, I think God would be a woman. Dealing with all this shit. So it's like I just got to ask for forgiveness. That's weird too. That's also weird, Frosty. To be like, he's like, apologize. And I'm like, well, no, this is my mom, dude. She died of breast cancer. I'm not going to apologize for getting a tattoo of my mom dying of breast cancer. I love my mom. And he's like, well, if you can't say sorry. Like, why is God so fucking worked up about people apologizing? Like, why would God be like, if you don't say sorry, you can't come in? Frosty, is heaven if you get up there and none of the fucking people that you love are up there? Bill Burr pointed this out. He said, what the fuck, why the fuck would I want to be in heaven if my mom ain't there? Why the fuck would I want to be in heaven if all the people that I loved aren't there? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's not logical. God, if you believe in God, gave you a brain to use that motherfucker. Not to become a mindless cultist sheep that just listens to whatever the fuck some dude on a pulpit says. If there is a God, that God is very upset that you are not using your fucking brain. I ain't saying sorry. Fuck that. All right, Frosty. This can't be all about you, Frosty.
You guys are stuck in puberty. Whatever happened in your
life.
What
up, Dizzy?
Trauma. Rape,
exactly.
Incest,
they have the right to marry and be as miserable as the rest of us.
One another. You have more violence against each other.
Me and Jesus are going to debate it at the gates. It's going to be amazing.
By heterosexual community.
Well, really quick, I want to go back to what you mentioned that, there's a lot of police protection here, and I'm sure...
Let's talk about Don Jr. again!
2 years ago, the 31 people came to probably start a fight.
They all were arrested. But the police protection was here before that, before it even happened.
But it was because of stuff like that.
No.
Yeah, that's the point. So this is another point. People go, why do you get so much police protection? Because 31 Proud Boys jumped in a U-Haul where they're literally space docking with each other, just tip to butthole the whole fucking time with their weird-ass khakis and blue sweatshirts on with fucking riot shields and fucking gas grenades. And luckily, an FBI informant was in that shit and busted them before they got there. That's like saying... Like, okay, so we have all of these accounts of potential violence happening to these certain types of people, but we're not going to give you any extra protection because we're going to wait until that shit happens. Like, this is my problem with all these arguments, and none of them are logical. And you're trying to say that trans people aren't logical, and yet the trans person looks fucking the most logical person there. This isn't reality.
Because you guys have thought, first of all, you infiltrated the campuses. This is a liberal campus.
It's all indoctrination.
The political...
in elementary schools and public libraries now. The books.
I'm gonna let you guys argue about the religious shit. I'm out.
Blowjobs to Steve.
Right.
I mean, it's
As you may have noticed, even when I tried to address some of the various tangents they went on, they would just spawn more like a conspiracy theory hydra. I did try to get specific books that they were showing kids explicit materials in. And this is the answer I got.
Infiltrating, and poisoning the minds of our children.
Yep. Break down the nuclear family, you break down society. What happened before Rome fell?
Oh!
Confusion.
Oh, my
Get
favorite!
involved in your community.
Oh, when the conspiracy people get to the Rome. Oh, dude, that is... I almost climax. When they start talking about Rome and the fall of Rome. I'm like, oh my God, it's like you evolved. You went from conspiracy to full-blown conspiracy bro. Okay, conspiracy bro. I think that's the next level up. When you start talking about the fall of Rome, that is when you have fully entered the realm of conspiracy bro. Oh God, that was good. Oh, man. Also, these people actually don't know anything about Rome. It's hilarious.
Infiltrating, and poisoning the minds of...
What, Pookie?
Break
I just
down
like
the
your
nuclear
name.
family, you break down society.
What is Tamika?
Before Rome fell. Gender confusion. Get more involved in your community, and you will see, you will find out the sick and demented things that are...
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. But, Tamika, I'm sorry. I'm going to read this because Tamika is a person who has been going through chemotherapy and has been in my channel and has been awesome. I'm leaving you and will help on the other side. My sister Terry is talking for me, and I can talk but can't type. I will help from the other side, but I want to give you a message. Tamika, I appreciate you. I'm very... I'm very thankful. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.
Break down the nuclear family, you break down society. What happened before Rome fell? Gender confusion. Get more involved in your community, and you will see, you will find out the sick and demented things that are happening in public libraries.
Do you have any specific books?
Go to the public library. You'll
there's a lot
those.
of books in the library.
Okay, well, ask the librarian.
Okay.
Tell her you want to look up some books that they have for children about gay sex, anal sex. They'll lead you to an entire row, an entire section where kids can pull out books and read about anal sex.
And I want to point out a personal story once again, and this is anecdotal, and it has the weight that it does have. And that is that my child at the age of like 7 or 8 years old was not allowed to check out the book A Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And so these things that these people are saying are not happening. Kids are not allowed to check out books that are age inappropriate for them. They're not allowed to look at these books. These are books that are specifically, and they're making up the shit that's in them, but even if they did exist in this manner, these books would be they would be for people of the appropriate age.
I don't have time to ask how she knew libraries had explicit material for children easily available before the next tangent. There was a local library booth at the event, but they were just giving out regular
they're in Coeur
kids'
d'Alene.
books.
You're a man.
Of course they are.
Okay. I don't know if you still have your parts that God gave you.
I think so.
Well, then be a man. See, God wants to heal
What's wrong
you.
with being a man?
So I'm your doctor. Okay. And I'm telling you that whatever damage of sin.
And this is something that, like, I've said a lot of times is I don't understand. I said it again. I've said a lot of times that I don't understand a lot behind this, and people like Jess have been really helpful in explaining some things to me, certain things, and specifically, and my friend Neve. Neve, if you guys don't know who Neve is an awesome person that is a YouTube content creator as well. That's getting bigger and bigger, and I hope that she gets fucking huge because she deserves to have a voice. So, you know, when people say things like, you are this gender, there's sex, which is a biological thing, and then there's gender, which is a construct and an expression. And I didn't understand those things. And I said some pretty poor things about this subject before I went into a little more research on what these things mean and how they... I just want to say again, Tamika, if you're still watching, I appreciate you so much. So I have looked into those things, and I realized the difference in the language, the semantic terms that I was messing up. And, by doing that, I figured out that, like, I was speaking very poorly, and that in that conversation, I was causing the issue. I don't know if that's what these people are doing right now. But what I can say is this, is there are studies on these types of things that are out there. There are studies on the brains of what we consider a biological female and brains of what is considered a biological male, and how those things can oftentimes have disconnections with the parts, the genitalia that a person has. And that is, once again, another argument that I have with those of you that are religious, that believe the hate portion of this. For those of you that are religious, that love people, I support you. For the people that believe that religion should hate these people, when I say that the person's brain, the physical portions of their brain represent a certain sexuality, but their genitalia represents the opposite, that literally means that if you believe in God, that God created these people with that physical makeup in their brain and with that genitalia. And if you believe those things, then God created them as transgender people. And this is the problem. Once again, it's all appeal to emotion. There are studies that you can look up on these things. And yes, transgender science is miles behind because forever nobody wanted to talk about it. But now we're finally having a time to talk about it. And you guys wonder why the science is behind. You wonder why the science is behind. And yet you want to shut down the conversation again. That doesn't make any sense.
Abuse, whatever may happen in your life. What if I don't have any abuse or trauma, and this is just the way I'm most comfortable? It could be from the effect of society. It's by watching Hollywood.
It goes against nature's
I mean,
law.
back MASH. Remember how MASH?
Don't have sex with male lions. They just don't.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Early days
All the time they do, actually.
There'd be guys, the only guys that would ever dress up in dresses was during Halloween. I feel Halloween's pretty popular for
I'm sorry I missed your first message, Tamika. Thank you so much.
But I mean, it was all
if you look
fun.
into Halloween, it's literally about giving truth to children to sacrifice them to Satan.
After hearing this woman spit out so many facts in such close succession, it might surprise you to know this is actually not true. And in fact, Halloween originated as Samhain, which was a Celtic festival meant to ward off evil spirits, not sacrifice children to them.
Love is not love, toleration of everybody, and no one's
Yeah, it's in
wrong.
Idaho. Hi, Tamara.
If no one's wrong, then why did the that was, won this lawsuit for defamation of character? Why, if love is love and nothing's wrong and don't judge anyone, why did he get a jury judgment of $1.3 million?
They continued to bring up a recently reached judgment awarding a local drag queen $1 million for defamation. However, while they want to frame this as the drag queen getting $1 million for exposing themselves to children, the reality is that was a lie spread by right-wing propagandists, and the suit was for defamation and threats that...
I was going to say, the very idea of it being defamation would be that it has to be proven. And just so you guys know, defamation is really hard to prove. Most defamation cases end in a or a non-verdict. In fact, a lot of people do, yes, take... they close the case out, They close the case out before the case goes to court because it costs a lot to litigate defamation, and it's very hard to prove defamation. But if a case is proven in court as defamation, just like the ones with Giuliani, just like the ones with Smartmatic, which actually they closed that out beforehand because they didn't want to go to court and paid almost $1 billion. It's extremely hard to prove defamation cases because you have to prove different parts of it are true that affect you. And when a person proves it, that means that you fucking lied and attempted to demean their character, and many other things.
Resulted from that lie. So they're just perpetuating the literal lies that got someone $1 million for how wrong they were proven to be in the court of law.
Dressing up as a man, dressing up as a woman.
in public by children.
How dare you guys be so pushy against us? How dare you push and flaunt your wickedness, your perversion against us here in public? And then you want to push.
Funny? Do you think it's funny? Do you think?
Yeah.
Wow, she's talking to me. Yeah, I do. I think it's fucking hilarious that these people standing here with shirts on that says Jesus, what is it? Saves from hell. There is no such thing as a homo. Righteous, like all of these things. Sin is a reproach to any people. All these things that they're saying. Yeah, it's fucking ironic. It's hilarious. And look, to be honest with you, we all wear our personalities on our sleeves. I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine that's from Holland, and I was asking her the differences between American culture and what is it, Dutch? I think, or people from Holland, Hollish. Sorry. And she was saying that the biggest difference is that Americans as a whole really wear their personality as their identity. And you know, there's something to be said about Americans and the way that we do that. It does create a lot of division amongst us, for sure. It does have a lot of mental effects on the attempts at being a cohesive unit when it comes to making change, for sure. But it also, it's also why we're so fucking colorful. It's also why other countries look at us and go like, look at this amazing place with all these freedoms. And that's why these people get to protest as long as they're not violent. But at the same time, transgender people, or this isn't just a transgender topic. This is obviously LGBT. This is part of Pride Month. It's a Pride Parade. They have the right to exist. They deserve the ability to be there and do the things they have done because it's important to them. Because you know, that they don't want to be living this life where they're only allowed to be these people when they're behind closed doors. That's a horrible existence. And that's what happened to black people. That's what happened. Somebody the other day said about my community, they said, did you know that the Latino population is something like 30%? And that's really crazy because this is like, for a long time, it was like 99% old white people in my community. And somebody that was there with them said, no way, is that true? And they go, yeah. They go, well, why don't we see any of them? And it was just this moment where you're like, I don't know. Why do you think that you don't see them? And it's because this isn't their culture. Like they feel like their only culture is at home and at work. You know, the jobs that they're given because they're marginalized are jobs that are service jobs behind the scenes. You know, like this is what we talk about when we actually, people misuse the word systemic racism. Systemic racism isn't a bunch of people walking around talking or calling people the N-word. Systemic racism is the very idea that when a Latino guy comes through the door of a restaurant, he is seen as being a dishwasher. Like, that's your job. Like, oh, well, I want to be front end. I want to be front of house staff. Well, that doesn't make sense. That's not who you are. That's systemic. I'm rambling now. Sorry, I'm kind of thrown off. So with them having their time out there, there's nothing wrong with people going out and expressing themselves as long as they're not harming others. And so they attempt to conflate their existence with harm for others. But it doesn't show. There's things going on in this community that should be talked about, as there are things in every community that should be talked about. But the way to talk about them is not to make them live behind closed doors and suppress their information. That's not how you solve any problem in society.
It's okay for a grown man to flash his genitals around children?
I think
I'm just curious because you're over there laughing like it's funny.
By now, some passersby had gathered and began interjecting. I tried to wrangle the conversation back on track before the exchange
Have a nice trip,
devolved
whoever's
into
going on the
insults
trip.
or more sporadic tangents.
if God wouldn't want people to be like this, why would he make people have these desires?
Because
why would they have
society
the free will to act on
twists
it?
their mind and conditions them to feel that way,
Did
so
God-
that they could break down our society.
Did God
make Adam and Eve.
Later, Woke. Appreciate you, Woke.
When he warned them, he said you could eat of all.
You're being
it wasn't
sarcastic.
Mature enough. You could eat of all the trees.
I gotta explain something Manic's saying. Yeah, Manic's not saying. She's not saying that. Manic is my wife, just so you know. She's saying is actually something that I say, and that is, yes, sex education does start at home, because sex education starts with being confident about your body. So, you know, a lot of people use the P word for Joe Biden because he took showers with his children. And I point out to people all the time that I also did take showers with my children. Like when they were very small, my children, there's nothing inherently sexual about taking a shower. Well, I don't know, for some of you maybe, but obviously specifically with your children. And so I try to teach my children body positivity, and that means that you seeing me being positive about who I am and not being ashamed of who I am makes you feel better about you, and also opens up your ability to talk to me about subjects that are often seeming as though they might be off limits in a very strict family culture. So when she says that it starts at home, she is literally using my words, and that is that we taught our children. My daughter is 13-ish. I don't want to really talk about the ages so much, but my daughter is entering high school. And we talk about what could happen if you are impregnated. And I don't tell my children sex is bad. I don't tell my children that sex isn't enjoyable. I don't lie to my children. Just like I tell my children the first time you do crack cocaine, it's amazing, and then it's all downhill from there. Instead, I tell my children that sex is great. It's amazing. I love it. Do it as much as I can. But there's also repercussions and consequences that you should be aware of. And having children in high school will not ruin your life. It doesn't ruin everybody's life. It will throw your life off kilter, and potentially if you're in a poor position financially or economically or even family-wise, it could ruin your life. And so that's how I speak to my kids about sex education, to explain what Manik is talking about, is that we are not ashamed of our bodies. We are not afraid of sexuality, and that when you do not talk about things with your children in a manner that allows them to be open with you about these subjects, they will instead seek out other people that could potentially be bad for them. And we would rather that they come to us with every question that they have about sexuality. So just so you guys know. Yeah, and that's understandable. You don't. That's like for everybody. For everybody, it's going to be different, right? For everybody, it's going to be different. So, like, I think people should do what they're comfortable with. I do think the best thing to do is to be open with all these things, but I also have lived a much different life. Like, I've experienced all the drug addiction and all that stuff. And so, like, I talked to my daughter, and we went down the entire list of drugs and which one could fuck up your life the most. Because I wanted my kids to know that from me, and not to be just given like hyperbolic statements about what it could do to them, because they're going to eventually run into somebody that is a cocaine user that's like, nah, dude, I'm good. I'm functional. I'm fucking great every day. And they don't know the behind the scenes of that. So I'd rather they talk to me about cocaine use before they ever talk to some cokehead that's like, dude, I'm doing great.
But they disobeyed God. God also gave them a tree that he didn't want them to eat from. There's things you don't have children do. You don't allow children. They have to be of a certain age and maturity before they can get a
Agolf. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Leave a loaded gun lying around and say, hey,
you think what we're pushing on our children in school is okay? You think it's okay to even tell them anything?
Even if she did.
Anything that has to do with sex at all?
I don't have a problem with that, because it's not inherently sexual.
How young do children have to have that pushed on them from Planned
Frosty, but that's a you problem, dog. That's a you problem.
For not only killing babies, but teaching.
I don't think about my children in that manner. I don't currently have showers with my 12-year-old, but I don't have a problem. Like
statistically,
it's weird that you think in this sexual manner, like about that.
No, it's eugenics, and Hitler started it.
They hate children. I don't know.
Actually, wait, no.
They're getting the
some of these tangents I wasn't even sure how to debunk. Like,
things got a little bit off kilter, and we're having some discussions, and this is the point of the channel. And these conversations matter, and I'm thankful for all of you guys. Keep it civil, be nice, but conversations matter. And you know, like I'm a little thrown off, and I appreciate everything. Like I said, there's nothing sexual about it, Frosty. You might think about that, but I don't. Like, do you think I never see my children without their clothes on? Like, just like I'm walking past, like everybody in my house leaves their doors open, right? Like, do you think like I've never like been like, oh, ass? Like, that's not, there's nothing sexual about it. Like, I don't get like, so from a 12-year-old's point of view, now their point of view, if you want to argue from that stat, like if you're saying like they're uncomfortable with being around people, like there's like European society is like way more freer with this kind of stuff than we are, dude. Like, do you think that those European children, can you prove to me in facts and statistics that European children are more fucked up than American children? And yeah, like I said, for everybody it's different. I don't look at my children in any way, shape, or form in that manner. That's weird. I didn't read it, so I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be expressing an opinion on something I didn't read. I didn't read it, so I would need to look at it to determine whether or not I think something is off about it. But I don't think there's anything inherently bad about, you know, I took baths with my kids. I took showers with my kids. There's nothing sexual for me in that. That's weird. So, like, you know, like I'd have to look at it. So let's watch one last video and call it a day. I kind of want, maybe we'll save this one for a different day because, like I said, this is a really weird thing that Trump supporters do with they have to point out that there's Latino people, they have to point out that there's black people, they have to point out there's gay people that are supporting Trump, and that's literally like saying I have black friends. But we'll get to that maybe on a different day. Let's finish up with this for our friend Tamika. All right, because man, Tamika joined during a science show and was like so cool and like really very supportive and said things that make me like so happy. The things I want to hear from people. Like, you make my brain work. Like, that's the point. You know, like this person, they got it.
Episode of Trump Whisper. Welcome, class, to another episode of Trump Whisper, translating stupid. I'm gonna need you to put on your imaginary stupid goggles in a hurry, because we're about to travel the planet Cray Cray to an isle that they named after their favorite guy, Racist. Now relax. We're gonna enter this in song. Let me clear my throat. Now sit right back and you hear a tale of two dipshits. It started on this crazy isle that they call racist.
Oh, man.
The weather started getting rough when he said this bullshit. We'll listen to what he said, then I'll break his ass off real quick.
If you look at the statistics, African-American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans.
I know this.
Wait, what? Oh, no.
Bastard did not just say
African. Dude. Oh my God. I'm gonna allow that Turtle Man doesn't know what the words that came out of his mouth were. Goddamn, Turtle Man. Oh, this is bad. That was a bad one, Mitch.
That was a bad one, Mitch. Percentage or rate as Americans. Who the fuck are Americans if African Americans?
Good job, Chris.
Americans.
Yeah, sub to Straight Facts No Chaser. Straight Facts No Chaser is dope.
And yet in this country, we always want to say there's no.
He said African Americans and then Americans.
This man wants to separate African Americans.
What up, Stan?
They voted the same rate as white Americans. Makes sense. As Asian Americans. Makes sense. No, he said as Americans. This is not the first time the Republicans
fucking
have
Turtle
said
Man, dude.
Americans believe this. Americans vote for this. Americans want this. Ask
Turtle
yourself,
Man.
are they really talking about you when they say Americans? No, Mitch McConnell let the cat out.
Sorry,
the bag.
Mitchell.
When they talk about Americans,
I'll make sure to call you
Americans
Mitchell.
Want or deserve or need,
well, I just call him Turtle
ask
Man.
for,
So
they're talking about white Americans, specifically white nationalist Americans. The default in America is actually native and indigenous. That's the default. The rest of them are immigrants. It's just amazing to me the history that these so-called leaders possess. They have whitewashed what America stands for, and then have people to believe that they are the original American. Therefore, they hold the title as American, and everybody else has an adjective in front of it or some kind of descriptive in front of American, but not them. It's insane. But if you don't believe my theory, let's listen to another Republican express what Americans want. And ask yourself, is this what you want? And if it is, then they're speaking for you. But if it isn't, think about it. We're about to go back to Planet Cray Cray, to the small isle of racist. Take it away, dipshit.
In that room?
Oh no, not Marjorie Taylor
absolutely
Greene.
not. I mean, everything I said is correct. It's how the American people feel. It's what we know to be a fact. It's all the evidence has been proven true. We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump. Worshiping as a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all see the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the fucking country over George Floyd. And
burning down the country. This is my problem with the hyperbolic bullshit. Like, yes, I've said this on the stream before. Like, don't burn down the Target your uncle works at. All right? It's bad for the community. All right? You guys want to protest some shit? You should definitely protest shit, but don't burn down the Target that your auntie works at. It's a bad idea. But god damn, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you fucking serious? Why would they go there? Why would you invoke George Floyd talking about that, like, Donald Trump is a felon? So is George Floyd! What the fuck, man? That's a strange thing to do. It doesn't make any sense.
Let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship. I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior.
Hey, Frosty, you're trolling hard right
President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. And then they're sitting there. They can attack my character all day long. What's his face in there? Whoever was talking last was calling me insane. But yet we can't say, oh, they're attacking my character. Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why? The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide.
Okay, guys, you got to give her this, though. Like, she looks like she's pretty sunburned, okay? She's pretty sunburned, okay? Maybe she's just in a bad mood.
And all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people.
Now I ask you this, what the fuck was she talking about? She tried to blame Joe Biden and the
went
Democrats
from Fauci
on COVID
to fucking
and how that
Floyd
was responded to, and how people died due to COVID. I mean, is she dumb or is she stupid? Donald Trump was the president for the entire COVID. From 2019 to 2020, Donald Trump was there for the majority of the deaths. And he's recorded
until
saying,
21.
I knew
through 20,
this
I guess
shit
is what he's
was
saying.
deadly, but I didn't tell Americans. I made them believe it was just a fluke. Don't believe me?
Yeah, he
Let's
literally
listen
did that
to Sir
shit.
Dipshit, the orange genius with the J from Herb.
It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher
No,
than
the
the
George
touch.
Floyd shit
the
was
touch,
fucked
you
up.
don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed.
But that's once again one of my things, Frosty, is that the MAGA crowd wants to act like the George Floyd thing wasn't that bad. I have two people in my family that were very high level CHP officers, and both of them, or maybe I think one of them spoke on it. My uncle doesn't tend to be on social media and stuff, but my aunt, who's I would say a pretty conservative person actually, and many police officers spoke out from across the political sphere that it was wrong, that what he did was wrong. And it's so strange to go from talking about that and saying that he handled that very poorly, and we all agreed on that he had handled it poorly. In fact, I hadn't seen so many people united on like a subject I don't think I've seen anything even close since then. But now, all of a sudden, it's like they don't remember any of that shit. And now they're like, it wasn't even that big a deal. It's nothing, and it's like, like I said, these are the things that just like kind of for me are very exhausting. It's like, just agree. Now it was fentanyl. Now it was he had heart problems. Now it was, it's like, we all agreed that you shouldn't kneel on a person's neck regardless of age or color or, race, ethnicity, whatever you want to call it, for fucking 10 minutes. I think we should all get behind that. Like cops, I fucking have cops in my family. I'm still like, yeah, don't fucking do that.
And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your...
It's very intense.
Your strenuous flus. This is more deadly. This is 5 per. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff. Well, I think Bob really, to be honest with you.
Sure, I want you to.
And that's in his words. Once again, why do you guys? And I say you guys. I'm not talking about you people. Why do you people? You hear him say these things. And then he goes to a rally and he says, it wasn't even that bad. Nothing was even happening. The Democrats blew it up. They said it was bad. And then you can hear in his own words him saying something that conflicts legitimately with the things he's telling you. And the cognitive dissonance tells you that's not him. I don't know what it does. I literally couldn't do that. If I heard, if you showed me a video of Joe Biden talking to Kamala Harris, and Joe Biden said some stuff like, about COVID, like, I hope they all go to a island together and all die of this flu or whatever they want to call it. I would be like, oh, God damn. Oh, man. Holy shit. It would be crazy.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
because I don't want to create a panic.
This dipshit did not want to create a panic. So MTG, or as we call it, B6, literally
kind
said
of, legit.
All of this stuff that happened with the pandemic has something to do with the Democrats and Biden, not her orange genius with the J from This is what the Americans believe. I don't know what American she's listening to. Maybe it's this Jewish space laser thing that's got her ass all twisted up. Because we don't understand what the fuck you're speaking of. The man you worship is the one who fucked up the pandemic. He literally told Americans that wearing a mask was basically for the weak. You don't have to do it. Play it down is not what he did. Play it off is exactly what he did. He told the public it's nothing to worry about, not to wear a mask. While his friends were dying coming to his rallies to take your money, he was sitting there saying it was no big deal. But you couldn't get close to him or touch him while it was happening. While he was at these rallies, he was far away from you, over 6 feet. You're the ones who were neck and neck. He was never close to you. So what did that mean? He didn't care about you living or dying. He was caring about himself living or dying. Exactly. So you say you don't worship Donald Trump. Well, I don't know what your definition of worship means. But from the outside looking in, you worship him. Because there's no way in hell that you can blame
I know people that had COVID like a week ago.
Happened under Trump on Biden now. What kind of logic is that? This woman is
people don't want to talk about it.
Ignorant.
Yeah, I love this dude, Frosty. He's my guy.
Stupid. How do you equate this?
He's my brother from another mother.
And she's quick to call Joe Biden instead of President Joe Biden. And she'll call Donald Trump President Trump. It's on purpose because she worships Trump. That's the only way you would be able to give somebody a title they don't deserve and take away the title from somebody who does deserve it. I don't understand what happened to the sperm cell and egg that met when this dipshit was conceived. But something was deformed because she is a grown-ass woman with the brain of a duck. What the fuck is wrong with her? How can you blame everything on somebody else who wasn't even in office when it happened? And she's also talking about the vaccines. Well, wasn't it under Donald Trump when they started making these vaccines?
It was his vaccine.
And Joe Biden is the one who actually got it out there so that people could take it and so that we could get out and do what we normally do and start making a living again.
Oh,
Donald
man. Don't
Trump
forget to
had
subscribe.
mixed messages. Take it. Don't take it.
forget
You
to
could
like
take it. You
and
don't need to take it. I
subscribe.
would take it, but you don't have to take it. How does a leader tell people to do whatever the fuck they want? You ain't leading at that point. A leader says, hey, look, I took it. You think I'm going to put this medicine inside me and kill myself?
Yes.
No.
That's what I did.
This will help us be able to get to what we need to be in the near future.
So I did for my
Just
family.
like you take all these other vaccines that we created over the years, and it helps. The flu vaccine. I mean, think about it. You're taking sane advice from somebody who literally thinks there's Jewish space lasers. She needs a tinfoil hat with a convertible, and she's out here literally giving advice as if she's sane. I would much sooner take the advice of someone who's schizophrenic and knows they're schizophrenic and they're taking their meds way before I would take advice from somebody who literally thinks they're Jewish space lasers. And the only reason she doesn't say anything about it is because the world calls her a fucking idiot every time they ask her that question. They're making jokes about her. When she was around her people, they believed it too, so she felt smart, intelligent. Got promoted to be a congresswoman by the same idiots that believed the bullshit that she spewed. But once she got amongst normal folk and they started interviewing her, she quickly found out she was a dipshit and was wading in waters way too deep for her. And now she's just batshit crazy to the batshit crazy Republicans. You know you are a special kind of stupid when the galactically stupid look at you and say, damn, she's stupid. She's like the queen of dipshits. I just want to remind y'all, you can vote her out this time around.
Yeah,
she
you
can go
can.
bye-bye. Put somebody in that's fucking sane. Jewish space laser lady? Seriously, though? Seriously.
Seriously, though?
I truly believe after her serving in Congress, in the House, for however many years, that a child in the 5th or 6th grade can be elected and do a better job. I honestly believe that. They're honest. They make sense, and they strive to be their best. Not her. When she's dishonest, she makes no sense, and she strives to be dumber every day. Nothing makes sense in her world. And I don't know what Americans this trick is talking about. Are you the American that she's speaking for? I don't think so.
Can we elect this
She's talking
guy?
about white,
Can we elect this
nationalists,
guy?
QAnon nut jobs. That's the America that she represents. She doesn't represent black, Latin, Asian, or sane white people. Period. Now I'm gonna need you to take off your imaginary stupid goggles before you shit yourself.
Dude, straight facts, no chaser for president.
Now, you may have heard about the...
I always link his channel.
Welcome, class, to another episode of Trump.
I'm trying to catch straight facts, no chaser, and I'm doing a really bad job of it because I keep getting people to go and like and subscribe to him. Here you guys go. This is his channel. You should be subbing and liking his videos and helping support and share all this stuff. And I'll say the same thing I said last Wednesday or whatever is MTG is so bad. The Democrats don't like MTG. MTG is so bad the progressives don't like MTG. MTG is so bad Republicans don't like MTG. MTG is so fucking bad that the Freedom Caucus, who are the wackiest motherfuckers in Congress, don't like MTG. No one likes MTG. She's literally like the least popular person in a group of people that are the least popular people. So, yeah. All right. Well, I wanted to say something with Tamika coming in here, and I know that, maybe Tamika's not watching anymore, and if Tamika's sisters is watching, is that, like, I really fucking appreciated that. And, one of the things I remember the most was when my grandpa was passing away.
And or I'm sorry, my grandma was passing away. My grandpa and my grandpa were together for 55 years, and they were the only positive people in my life. And I remember when my grandma, she was passing away in the house. They had her sedated. We were all saying our goodbyes. And I remember seeing my grandpa sitting there, and my grandma had just passed in the house. And I remember going over to my grandpa and being like, thank you. Like, I'm so appreciative for everything you've done. And he was kind of like, yeah, you know, no problem. My grandpa was in the military for 36 years. He had a really hard time. And I kind of felt like my grandpa for a second there with her telling me that, like, how do I respond? What do I say? And I'm not great at it. So I just want to say thank you. And it reminded me that I remember that Obama was going to be president. And I said to my grandpa, who used to be a very political person, I said, Grandpa, I was like, I want your opinion on this. Do you think Obama is going to be a good president? And I remember he said, I don't care. So it means a lot to me. That someone that was at the end of their life came here and said goodbye. Anyways, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys. All right, guys. Yeah. Say goodbye to Tamika. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And I'll see you next time.